We are live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. Thank you for joining me tonight. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me, live on the show, and I appreciate y'all for that. Thank y'all for joining. We got a whole lot to talk about. There's a whole lot that's been happening all over the internets, all over mainstream media, social media, everywhere. Alec Baldwin, really unfortunate, may the person that he shot and killed rest in peace. Hopefully the director, Joe Sousa, has a full recovery. But somebody's in trouble. It might be Alec. It might not be. Some would say ABL, be gracious. Don't get politics involved here. But how can I not? I have to involve politics here. It must be. How can I ignore the elephant in the room? That's what I do. Why would I ignore the elephant in the room now versus a different time? We'll talk about that, of course. We're going to get to it. And shout out to Condoleezza Rice for setting the ladies of The View straight when it came to things like critical race theory and a bunch of other stuff. I'm not necessarily her biggest fan when it comes to politics, although I'm saying pretty much lock and step with her the majority of the way, being a conservative person. But she got them ladies in check, and I really appreciated her for that. Also, we have an update on the Texas school shooting out there in Arlington, Texas. Remember the whole narrative about, oh, he had been bullied and he was going to commit suicide and blah, blah, blah. A completely false narrative, only reputed by the family and nobody else. Everybody else in the whole city and the whole county and the whole state of Texas knew what was happening. We'll talk about all those things and more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And thank y'all again for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. If you enjoy what you are hearing thus far, if you enjoyed the show, go ahead and get the video a thumbs up. Also, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. We got a whole lot going on tonight for sure. Like I said, Alec Baldwin, Condoleezza Rice, the Texas school shooting, and the fearless Marine Corps vet who stopped the armed robbery barehanded by himself. 3 guys trying to rob a joint. 1 guy had the gun. We'll talk about that. Also, the Amazon driver in the Providence, Rhode Island area, he was posing as a, I suppose, transgender, and he used that as a way to snoop on women and children, taking pictures and video and whatnot, going into the bathroom, snooping in bedrooms, all types of stuff. Now, my question is, was he able to gain access to certain homes because he was an Amazon driver? See, they got the whole thing where you can let someone in your home, if they are an Amazon driver, to put a package inside. Like if they scan something, it'll open your door up. I would never do that because you never know who'll be in your house. I don't care if it's for a brief period of time. It is totally irrelevant. I don't want any stranger in my home, period. Point blank. Unless I'm right there and I can see you and I invite you in or something like that. But you're not just going to be there when I'm not there. I'm not sure what's going to happen. But either way it goes, we'll talk about that. And also, shout out to the fake mainstream, quote unquote, mainstream media trying to say that Candace Owens threatened to invade Australia. Like Candace Owens has some kind of military behind her. They're going to go and invade Australia and take what? They're going to take the dingoes and the kangaroos and the house-sized spiders, and they're going to take all the rocks and whatnot from the outback. Is that what they're going to do in Australia? Maybe. She made a point about how ridiculous the Australian government is and how if you're going to spread democracy and stuff like that, the same way we did in Afghanistan, why not go to Australia and do the same thing? Matter of fact, I'm going to start right there. So Candace Owens made a really good point about the whole situation happening right now in Australia. Matter of fact, hold on. I'm tripping. I can't start just yet. I got to go back and shout out my sponsors. I almost always forget this. I get too excited when they get, straight to the topics. But shout out to all my sponsors. We have me, of course, ablmerch.com. We are fresh sold out of the USA hats, but we got a bunch of more hats, t-shirts, stickers, hoodies, and more. New merch coming out. The same stuff has been there for a long time. We got that. So always check to see if we got something new or whatever on ablmerch.com. Links will be in the description box below. And if you listen on your favorite audio streaming platform, whether it be Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, Apple iTunes, etc. There should be some kind of description box available there. You can find all these links in that particular box. And if you don't know, this is a podcast. We're recording it right now live. It'll be available for you on the aforementioned streaming platforms. And the easier way to get there will be, again, through a link in the box that'll take you to Stitcher. And then, well, it's Anchor, Stitcher, whatever it is. It'll take you straight there and get you to where you got to go. So check it out over in the link in the description box below. But we have ablmerch.com. We also have anthonyblogan.com. That is ANTHONY, the letter B, LOGAN.com. We have all my articles over there that I write, original articles that are sourced with official sources, left, right, center, independent, local, whatever it is. Link for that will be in the box. There's also all my contact info on there, my snail mail, my email, my social media accounts, my Twitter, my Facebook, my Instagram, all on the website. Again, one more again for the folks in the back, AnthonyBLogan.com. We also have BHEDesigns.com for these beautiful handmade wooden flags that are right behind me. You can get ones just like those or one of your very own with a high gloss finish, a matte finish. I have the matte finish, so it's not so shiny with the lights on it. These are a large size. You can get ones that are just like these or one of your very own over on BHEDesigns.com. Link will be in the box. And of course, go to patriotpost.us, the best source of news and information anywhere on the internets. Patriotpost.us. Check them out right in the box. Been around for about 25 years. Right out here on the mountain in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So check them out. Again, patriotpost.us. Now, let's get to the whole Candace Owens kerfuffle, shall we? Now, we know how the mainstream, old school, legacy media operate. We know what they do already. Whenever there's someone like a Candace Owens who is very popular, very attractive, a lot of people that follow her, very successful, and has a conservative message, they hate her because they can't really attack her. You know, they want to attack her, but they can't. But it's funny because although they say they can't attack her, they end up attacking her anyway. They attack her harder than they would anybody else because they know how influential she is. What are you going to really say, though? You can't say she's a white supremacist, although they try to say that. It doesn't make any sense. I'll rephrase. They can say she is a white supremacist or some kind of white extremist, but they know it doesn't make any sense. So they know they got to go a little bit harder. She hates herself. She hates black people. She's a grifter, all this and that. Why? It's because she's very effective, very influential, is always in high places. Her husband is a really powerful guy, well known over there in UK. Like, what's he, a lord or something like that? I don't know what the designations are over in UK. But regardless, because she is so influential and so powerful, they got to attack her from anything she says. It feel like every other day I go on the internet, especially Twitter, and she is trending for some reason. And it'll be some random thing she said. Candace Owens hates A1 sauce and she prefers her steak rare. Something like that. And it's like, is that even worth a trending thing? Is that worth attacking her? No, it's not. But what are you going to do when somebody is so successful and so influential as far as pushing conservative value? What else are you going to do when you are the left and you don't want that kind of person to be out there having any kind of success? You got to attack them, try to knock them down to where you are as the left-wing organizations that you have operating in mainstream media. Anyway, so Candace Owens is talking about Australia and their ridiculous lockdown rules. As I was saying, her husband is from UK and some of his family are in Australia. They live there. I guess they're Australian. And one of them wrote an email to Candace and her husband about what's happening in Australia. Now, a lot of you guys, some of you guys, not a lot, but some of you guys may live in Australia. You may visit there. Well, you can't visit anymore, I suppose. Are you still closed down? I'm not sure what's happening. But in the letter, the person expressed what's happening. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find that right quick because I didn't play that part of the video on my video. I just said go to my website and check it out there because of time purposes. I didn't want to play the whole thing, but I think I'm going to play it here. Let's play some of it right here. This is on the Daily Wire's Twitter, because that's where her show is, on the Daily Wire. And her show is, I think it's called Candace. And you can see that, yeah, it's called Candace. You can see that on a Daily Wire subscription. This is no ad or anything like that. I'm not getting paid by the Daily Wire or Candace Owens or Blexit or anyone else. I'm just giving her a shout out just because, and we are talking about her content. So let's check it out right here. Let me put it on the screen right quick. Give me one moment and we will get rocking and rolling. There we go. Let's get a little bit of sound and we're off to the races.
My husband has a lot of family members who live in Australia. They're all wonderful people. Despite the fact that we do not always agree on politics, they're kind of, the old school type. They don't really let politics get in the way of their meaningful relationships. Well, recently he received a message from one of these family members, and she was expressing how the mental state of everyone around her is in steep decline. She shared with him a message that she had received from a friend of hers, a woman who lives in Queensland, and the message is genuinely shocking. I was shocked reading this message, and I decided that for this episode, I'm just going to read it to you verbatim. So just to get you guys ready, it's a list of the COVID rules that Australian citizens are being made to follow. And as I read this, I actually want you to close your eyes and to imagine that this was your life, and to imagine what your mental state would be everywhere, literally everywhere, including...
Back up a little bit here. See, I'm trying to skip ahead for time's sake. It's messing up. Give me 1 second. We're going to go right back to where she left off.
First and foremost, there are a limited number of people allowed in your household. And at various times, she writes, we are told we are allowed no visitors. Funerals have to be kept between 5 and 10 people. Must scan a QR code to go everywhere, literally everywhere, including toilets.
No, didn't I say that about the whole QR code thing? Like, if you want to go to, because my vision for the future here in the States would be you get a QR code on your forehead, and when you go anywhere, grocery store, coffee shop, it just scan you like you a head of lettuce or something like that. You know what I'm saying? A human being, you get scanned. It's ridiculous. But in Australia, that's a reality, apparently.
There are curfews, and there are helicopters patrolling the skies to ensure that everyone is abiding by the curfews. You are not allowed to go past 5 kilometers from your home. Just to put that in perspective, that's about 3 miles. A little over 3 miles from your home, you're not allowed to travel past. You're not allowed to sit down at parks, beaches, and public spaces. You're not allowed to drink or eat while standing up anywhere. You must sit down to drink or eat everywhere.
So you can't sit down in a public park, but you can't stand up either? Did I hear that right? Or maybe I'm tripping. So you can't sit down, but you can't eat while standing. You got to sit down to eat. Does it make any sense? Does a virus travel with more efficiency if you're sitting down or sitting up? And if it does, why are the rules different depending upon where you are?
No dancing anywhere. Only 1 person per household is allowed to go shopping for essentials. Only essential shopping is allowed. And at times, ready? The Defense Force and police have checked what people are shopping for. Imagine that. What are you buying today? That's happening. Dog parks, playgrounds, bike parks, beaches are closed and barricaded. Mask wearing is required when outside, and even if you are alone. And at one point in Queensland, it was also required when in your car alone or mowing the front lawn. International borders are closed. No one is allowed to leave the country. Small businesses are shut down while big businesses are allowed to operate. This next one to me is it's insane. It's so crazy. Ready?
And let's pause right there. The whole thing about, small biz, big biz, that happened here as well. You close it down, some of your mom and pop shops. Oh, well, this is a hazard. We got to protect everyone's safety. But then the Walmart and Target will be packed from the window to the wall because the small biz are closed down. So all their foot traffic that normally go there are now going to the big stores. So the big stores already had a bunch of traffic. Now they got a bunch of more traffic. So there's more congestion, more people, more of an ability to spread this thing. So doesn't make any sense to close small biz and keep the big ones open. It doesn't make sense if you're talking about the spread of this bug, but it makes great sense if you're talking about just trying to get money. It's the same thing with the whole minimum wage argument. They want to have the minimum wage be high across the board on the federal level, so the small biz will suffer while the big biz does not suffer, and then they gain what the small biz lost. So they can make up for the increase in payroll expenses by the new business they get from the closed business. You understand what I'm saying? Does it make any sense? So it's like how Walmart operates. If they go to a small town and you have 20 shops on a city block, they can close all those shops down and have all that traffic go to Walmart. That's how they make money.
Citizens are locked out of their home state. Thousands of them are not allowed to return unless they get a vaccine, only after they go through a slow and restrictive exemption request process. Okay, so imagine you live in Tennessee, all right, you happen to be in Connecticut, and they say, you know what, you're not allowed to travel from state to state. You can't go back to your home state of Tennessee unless you get a vaccine. It's actually unimaginable. Not being able to go home because you have to be vaccinated. Not only that, you have to apply once you get the vaccine to be able to go home. This is what is going on right now in Australia.
And you know what? Let's pause right there. I live in Tennessee, right? I live on the border. Like, I live right on the Georgia border. So if I go across the line in Georgia, and then it's an officer right there on the border saying, hey, you can't go back to your house, which is like right behind me because you've not gotten the test and whatever. I'm like, come on. This area is like one city. Basically, it's like one region. Why must I get a test to just cross the border and go 2 miles to my house? But that's kind of where we at nowadays with this stuff. It makes no sense. It's quite silly. It's just doing whatever. And people are kind of accepting it to a certain degree. Not everyone's accepting it, obviously, in Australia. There is some kickback, but how much kickback is there? That's the question.
I genuinely do not know what to say to this, except this. For the last 20 years, the United States has spent trillions of dollars overseas in Afghanistan fighting a war, which we lost, by the way.
Now, I don't want to go too far in here because of time's sake, but here's what she was talking about. Well, we spent trillions of dollars in Afghanistan and we lost that, and we're trying to spread democracy. So why not just take them trillions of dollars and go to Australia and free them? And during this monologue right here, she said, I say that in jest. I'm making the point about what's happening in Australia, comparing it to what happened in Afghanistan. You see what I'm saying? So if we're not trying to invade Australia, but we invaded Afghanistan, then it's like, I guess the whole excuse about trying to spread democracy and freedom, it wasn't really about that. You know, in my humble opinion, not Candace's opinion, but in my humble opinion, maybe it was about some other stuff. Maybe it was about those defense contracts. Maybe it was about those opium plants. Maybe it was about other things aside from trying to spread, quote unquote, freedom. It's never about that. If you spend trillions on a particular place and try to nation build, there's something in it for you. You're not going to spend that much money for no reason just because you want to be altruistic, just because you want to be a good guy and you want to be the world savior, Captain Planet. You don't want to do that. You're trying to do things for yourself, and not just for one-to-one, not just for the USA, trying to help the USA. I'm talking about, again, the defense contractors, the big pharma, big companies like that, trying to get a lot of their opium supply for the medications, things of that nature, gas, potentially, natural gas, petroleum, whatever it is. It's a lot of military bases, being able to have a country that's right on the border of China. If you didn't know that, Afghanistan borders China. Yes, it does border China. So there's a lot of reasons to be in Afghanistan, not because you just want to spread democracy. Again, if you want to spread democracy, go to Australia and do that. But we're not going to do that. Never that. You won't go to a Commonwealth nation and do something like that. Shout out to Queen Elizabeth, but different story, and I digress. So yeah, shout out to all the Australians out there. We got you on our prayers because what's happening over there is crazy. And I think one of the main reasons why that's happening over there is because of no Second Amendment, no right to guns. There was a big gun buyback in the 90s, like 94 or something like that. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But how are you going to defend yourself with no way to defend yourself in a realistic way? Okay. Some people say over here in the States that, oh, you're going to need more in Second Amendment to, fight the government. And I'm not saying fight the government. Please don't misunderstand me. But see, the thing is, I think that you can't just bully somebody if they have any kind of arms on them, because you don't want to have a war. You don't want to go to war with your own people. That's not what's happening. But in Australia, there's a need to do that. You don't got to go to war if nobody has anything to protect themselves. You could just do whatever you want to do. And then there's compliance. And there's also kind of a mental compliance. As I was saying in my video today about this, I did a story about the In-N-Out burger, right? And shout out to In-N-Out burger. I've never been to In-N-Out. I've never been before to an In-N-Out burger, but when I go back to California or Texas, if they have one wherever I go in Texas, I want to go just because I want to support them. They had a vax mandate, or there is a vax mandate in San Francisco, and In-N-Out burger refused to enforce it on their own. And they're like, look, we're no vax police. We got the signs out front that says what the city ordinance is, but we're not going to go out there and enforce it. We're not trying to stick no Q-tip up your nose and give you a rapid test. We're not trying to check vax cards or nothing like that. Okay, it's up to you, whatever you want to do. We're not trying to enforce that. So shout out to them. Hats off. Bravo to In-N-Out burger for doing that. But when they interview people right there on the street, now I'm not saying everyone who they interviewed feels this way, but some did. When they were interviewing people, some said that they agree with what San Fran was doing, and they don't like what In-N-Out burger did. Oh, they're being negligent. Speaking about In-N-Out burger, they're being negligent. They shouldn't, blah, blah, blah. The dumbest thing in the world. Meanwhile, go to Florida, where there is no vax mandate and mask mandate, and it's not a big problem with this particular bug. If you want the vax, it's there for you. Go ahead and get it. If you don't, that's fine too. That's the way it should be. Go to some of these Nordic countries, it's the same way, right? Now, I think the problem over here in the US of A, where you have a very high rate of death and whatnot from this particular bug, is the obesity rate. Obesity is off the chain over here in the USA. What they call that? Affluenza, disease of affluence. You have so much money and so much, you can just, I showed you guys the food stamp card with $20,000 on it, $20,000 on one food stamp card. When you got that going on, there's an endless supply of food for people. In reality, there's not. I'll talk about that at a different time. But there's endless supply for people who have all this money. You can eat till you can't eat no more. You can become the size of a VW bug in real life. Put some wheels and some green paint and a hard turtle shell on your back. You'll be a whole VW bug, okay? Get a couple doors, put them on your sides, and you ready to get on the interstate. You ain't going too fast because your wheels ain't really going to be spinning too much, but you're a whole VW bug. You're a whole baby grand piano. You are humongous over here in the States. And maybe that's why we have a high risk rate or a higher risk rate than Norway or Sweden or somewhere like that, where you have more physical fitness and whatnot. Shout out to Dolph Lundgren. You understand? There's not a whole lot of action stars. Your average normie is not built like an action star. That's just the reality of the situation over here in the States. You go up there to the Nordic nations, it's a little bit different. Same thing with Japan and whatnot. It's just different. Now, I'm not trying to insult anyone necessarily, but it's just the reality of the situation. So rather than focusing on things that don't really work, that cause a bunch of mental anguish, because if you notice at the very beginning, Candace said that her in-laws were talking about people that were not doing very well mentally. They were kind of unraveling. I mean, how would you be very well if you are not used to being in the penitentiary? You're pretty much on house arrest. You can't go anywhere. I saw a video where there was some Australians outside drinking coffee. The officer came up, took the coffee cup and shook it to see if there was any coffee inside. It's like, all right, they got the cup, right? They got the cup. And I guess because you got the cardboard or whatever, the cup, you can't see there's liquid inside. So they shook it. Okay, it's halfway full. You could be out here drinking this coffee cup. If it wasn't halfway full, if it was kind of empty, they might just got done sipping it like a few seconds ago. But if it was empty, would they get arrested? Stuff like that. Rather than me worrying about how much coffee is in my cup, how about giving me a Billy Blanks DVD and saying, okay, do that for about 6 months and come back and we'll see what happened. That'll probably be the better way to go about it. Or how about don't eat the entire cheesecake. You know, eat one piece and be cool with that, all right? But I'm getting triggered, so I digress. Let's get back on it. I'm serious about that. Matter of fact, I'm going to find that clip. Hold on. The coffee cup, I'm dead serious. Shout out to Roster Red Pill again. Some of the best Twitter accounts to follow. Roster Red Pill, Libs of TikTok, Silent Meme Majority. Follow them on Twitter. I know I said that pretty quickly, but you can rewind on the playback and follow those accounts. Really good sources of information. Matter of fact, hold on. And thank you guys for being here yet again. If you're enjoying what you hear so far, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Also, like the video, share it. Oh, here we go. Like, share, do all that good stuff. But here is the video in question. And the caption says, Australian Stasi police check man's coffee to validate his reason for why he's not currently wearing his mask. Dead serious. Check it out.
Myself included, I work out. Do you just mind if I check if there's actually anything in there? Oh, yeah, there's coffee in there.
Did you see that? Okay, let's rewind. You thought I was playing? You thought it was a joke? You thought ABL was just making up stuff that I was telling the truth? I never tell you guys lies. I never, ever, ever lie to you guys, ever.
Myself included, I work out. Do you just mind if I check if there's actually anything in there? Oh,
look at this.
There's coffee in there. Enjoy your coffee. Thank you.
See ya.
Jesus loves you all. God bless. I'll be praying for you all. Myself included, I work out. Do you just mind if I check if there's actually anything in there? Oh.
My man is shaking his coffee. It's like, first of all, I don't know where your gloves been. You could have been just arresting some dope fiend with your same gloves on. You didn't change them. Now you're touching my coffee cup right up by the place where I put my hands at. I mean, what kind of sense does this make? Y'all tell me. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Maybe I'm just not really seeing it. Maybe I'm just kind of blind and I don't know what's happening. But I think I have a little bit of a brain left. I'm not totally just gone here. And I'm kind of seeing that it doesn't make any sense, but here we are. Shaking a coffee cup to see if there's anything in it because I don't have a mask on. And I only need to not have my mask on outside, by the way. If you can't see this, they're outside at a park. Blue skies, green trees, grass. They're outside. It's so dumb. But anyway, thank y'all again for being here. Let's get to the next thing before I get too triggered over the whole Australia kerfuffle. Alrighty. And, the Texas school shooting. I'm going to get to Alec Baldwin a little bit later. Trust me, I will get to Alec Baldwin. Y'all just hang tight. Now, the Texas school shooting. Remember I did that video a few days ago. It might have been almost 2 weeks now where I did that video about the Arlington, Texas school shooting. That's over in between Dallas and Fort Worth, basically in the Dallas metro area, in that same little area where Dallas is. So 18-year-old black male goes to school with a gun and shoots not one, not two, not three, but up to 4 people. I think they said 3 guys shot, but I heard at first it was 4. The official report lately says he shot 1 student, 1 teacher, and grazed another student. So she got shot too. If the gun's going off and I get hit with anything from that gun, I got shot. I don't care if it's a piece of shrapnel, I got shot. We'll talk about that part a little bit later, speaking about Alec Baldwin. But anyway, he shot at least 3 people inside the school, not just on school grounds outside, not just in the parking lot, not just somewhere close to school, inside of school. Okay, during class, so the in-between class. Boom, boom, bang, bang. Thank God nobody died. The boy that he shot initially, the 15-year-old, was almost dead, but was treated and eventually released. So that's good news there. However, he brought his gun to school in his book bag and shot at least 3 people, up to 4 people. Now, he was released afterward on bond. I think the bond was $75,000. So I'm not sure how it goes in Texas. You got to put up 10%, so $7,500. And the charge was aggravated assault. And the police chief, a black male, by the way, that's important because they're going to try to say racism and stuff like that. But anyway, the police chief said that the nature of the situation was not like he was trying to go to school and just shoot it up, like how you've seen other things happen. That wasn't the nature of it. So they want to get him in jail forever, but they can't charge him with too high of a crime to where he won't get convicted. Because you know how some of these judges are and how things kind of get weird with lawyers and legal definitions. So they want to charge him with the ultimate they can get him on. Now, if somebody died in a situation, that'd be a whole different ball of wax. That's a whole different ball game, right? But I think it's aggravated assault. Now, I'm not sure if Texas lumps in attempt murder with aggravated assault, because I have heard that it's like the same crime, basically, depending upon the situation. But regardless of what's going on, he was able to get out on bond. And when he got out on bond, his family threw him a party. They had chicken wings and all kind of stuff. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find this. What's this fool's name? Oh, Timothy Simpkins. That's right. Timothy Simpkins, the 18-year-old school shooter in Dallas. Well, not Dallas, pardon me. Arlington, Texas, which is right by Dallas, in between Dallas and Fort Worth. So here it is. Okay, here's the welcome home party that he got from his family. And did Larry Bird die? Hold on right quick. I got to see that. Just pause for a minute. Larry Bird's not dead. Why say that? Anyway, so let's go and put this on the screen. So, yeah, that's him, the guy in the blue shirt. He's fresh out of the joint right here. This is the same shirt he had on in a little perk walk when he was leaving prison or jail. He had that same outfit on. So it's him and his 3 queens, probably his sisters, cousins, aunties, or whatever. Big smiles, cheesing, having a good old time. You got all kind of drink. You got little Sprite, Solo cups, fried chicken, French fries, heart emojis, all types of stuff, right? Everybody's smiling. Now, understand this. He just shot at least 3 people in school just hours before this picture was taken. Does anybody look like they really care? Is anybody, look, everybody got smiles. Everybody got smiles, big smiles, laughing. Now, the original narrative that was spun by his mom or his aunt or somebody, some woman in the family, the narrative was that this adult male, 18 years old, Simpkins, they said that he had been bullied by the person that he shot. And that's the reason why he brought the gun to school. It's because he couldn't take it anymore. He was being bullied. He could have committed suicide and all this and that. And I knew from the beginning that it was bogus. Like, I knew the bullying could have happened, but I knew that there was no excuse to go out there and do that. It's like, look, if you're being bullied by somebody, you can fight back or don't. But you can't bring your gun to school. That's not an acceptable resolution to being bullied in school. That's not how that goes. It's dumb, really, because you can fight somebody in school. Maybe you get suspended or something like that. But if you kill somebody in school, you're going to go to the penitentiary forever. You're not coming home again. You fight in school, you'll be suspended for a day, maybe. If you get suspended at all. If you're getting bullied and you fight, you might even get suspended. But anyway, I digress. The whole point is that I knew the gun to bring it to school and shoot people, including the teacher, just innocent people, that's not a reasonable reaction to being bullied. But then the police chief, again, the black male police chief, said that there was no bullying going on. The only evidence of bullying came from a statement released by the family. And that's what we saw on the news when the mom or whoever said that he had been bullied and he could have committed suicide. That's the only evidence of bullying was from her. That's it. What happened was the shooter, this guy, all smiles. Let me put it back on the screen. This guy, what happened was he was engaging in high-risk activity. That's what the police chief said. He didn't specify what the high-risk activity was, but I'm reading around in different places, people that live in the area, they're saying that everybody knew that he was involved with drugs, and so was the other boy, and they had a beef over the drugs. That's what happened. So what you have are basically two gang members, thugging, drugging, same old story. The guy had a beef with the guy over the drugs, so then he shot him in school. That's what happened. And that's not uncommon. You know, when you're talking about school shootings, I've seen it a lot. If not shootings, you're talking about serious fights in school. I've seen it a lot when I was a kid. And it'd be over street stuff. Street stuff kind of blends into school. I've seen it all the time. It'd be like in senior year, it's the dumbest thing in the world. It's like you got guys graduating to the penitentiary. And when I hear the whole, school to prison pipeline thing, I'm like, that's not real. The school is not to blame, really. It's the kids engaging in street activity outside of school, and they bring it to school. So they trying to halfway go to school and be good boys or whatever, but in reality, when they go home, they thugging. And that follows them inside the school. So they're getting in fights, they are getting in trouble and whatnot in school for street stuff. That's what happened here. This whole bullying narrative was bogus. And people believe that stuff. This is why a lot of these judges and whatnot be so soft on these young black men. Oh, he didn't know any better. His mama wasn't there. His daddy died and he was being bullied, and start crying tears on the stand. It's like, look, man, ain't nobody got no time for that. You being too soft. These young boys are completely just demonic. They will kill you in a minute over nothing, over the smallest of things, not even over money, over being offended, over a wrong look, over nothing. And you want to say, oh, let them get a short amount of time in the penitentiary, let them do community service and whatnot, no bail. I saw that in New York where an older black male wasn't even on juvenile, and juveniles are always the worst. They're always the most violent because they're brainless. A lot of the juveniles are very violent and brainless. They're very violent and brainless until they die or they get too old, and then they just kind of grow up in the penitentiary. Then they slow down because they get old. But usually they end up dead. Anyway, I digress. The whole point is that this person I'm talking about was much older, probably in the 30s or something like that. He was arrested on a murder suspicion in New York City, and he was released with no bail. Because they were doing that whole thing back then. Oh, jails are crowded, and we got the virus going on, and we want to reform the police, so no bail. All right, cool. So they released this suspected murderer to the streets, and as soon as he got out, what did he do? Immediately kill somebody else. You had him in the prison. You had him in the jail. Just keep him there. You have a suspected murderer. And if he's in jail on murder, he probably did it. I'm not saying he did do it, but he probably did it. You probably should keep him in there for a little while. But they didn't do that. He went straight back and killed somebody immediately. Immediately killed somebody else. So that's what you have when you have these soft judges and soft just legal system. So yeah, it's not a good thing. But anyway, the bullying narrative in the Dallas area shooting was false. 100%. Yeah, I mean, we do have rules we live by, Jerry. But the thing is, you got to be able to change these rules. Laws are made by people. They can be changed by people. And that's just what it is. And also, laws have to be enforced. There are some laws that don't get enforced. And that's a problem. When you just kind of let stuff go on, let things happen, you're going to have more crime as a result. I was talking about this or something similar to this on Brandon Tatum's channel. Not really about laws, but about you got to do things you know will result in less crime. You got guys crying about racial profiling and whatnot. But at a certain point, police can see patterns and they know when something's suspicious and when it's not, generally. And they got to be able to act on that to prevent crime from happening. Prime example, out in Virginia, you got a bunch of city areas, and you have like small town podunk areas in between. So for example, if you're coming from Norfolk, Virginia Beach, 7-city area to Petersburg, Richmond, you can go up 460 and you got little towns like Waverly and stuff like that, real small gas station towns, right? Now, if the police, the troopers out there, if they see a sedan with 4 black male adults in it and they got New York plates, you getting pulled immediately, right away. Why? If you out there with that going on, you probably got drugs in the car because they know this is a typical route that these guys take. They don't want to take 64, 95 or Eastern Shore up that long bridge where they kind of just out there really hot and obvious. They want to go the back road, but everybody knows that they're already doing that. So you out there with 4 adults, black males in a Honda Civic or a 2-tone Lexus, and you got New York plates on. Nah, come on, pull over. And when they do that, they normally find something because they know the patterns. When you're not allowed to act on patterns, when you're not allowed to do things that make sense to prevent crime, you're going to have more crime as a result. It's very simple. Also, West Virginia. In Huntington, West Virginia, in 1 year, you only had 3 murders. And all 3 were black males from Detroit. Why? Because they come down there to sell heroin. So if you see a bunch of guys with Michigan plates in Huntington and they're brand new, Huntington's small. It's kind of like a gas. It's kind of like a little 1-car town itself, except for the college kids. Okay, they're not college kids. They're not locals. Michigan plates, 4 males in a sedan. Guaranteed they got drugs. Guaranteed. What are you in Huntington? Why are you Huntington for? What is the reason to be in Huntington? Are you on vacation to see what? The heroin addicts leaning over in the park? What are you there for? Are you going to school? I don't think so. You're blasting rap music out of your car. I can smell the weed. You got drugs in the car. But I digress. I'm getting triggered. I'm just saying, we got to do things that make sense. That's all. Let's be honest with each other and stop trying to lie because it makes us feel better. But anyway, let's get to the next thing here. So shout out to my man in Yuma, Arizona, the fearless Marine Corps veteran who stopped the armed robbery by himself, barehanded. That was a really good one. A lot of you guys sent me that. And it shows how it's important to be trained, not only in how to shoot a gun, but also how to defend yourself with your hands. That's very important because I'm not sure that he was armed at that moment. He might have been armed at that moment, but he didn't need his gun. Let's put it on the screen right quick. And just to be honest, just to be fair, it was most certainly amateur hour for the robbers. Most certainly, because I'm going to show this video and talk about how I can tell it was amateur hour. Being Monday morning quarterback, going back and looking at it, I could tell it was amateur hour for sure. So again, this is a Marine Corps veteran. His name is, hold on. I want to say his name wrong. Give me a second. James Kilser. Yuma, Arizona Marine Corps vet. So it starts, he's at the counter with some items in the bag. He said he had 2 Gatorades, 2 energy drinks, and a snack in the bag. So he just checked out, talking to his friend across the counter. He's just chopping it up, talking about whatever. And as a matter of fact, what he was saying to the guy was, hey, man, you need to stop being a convenience store clerk and come down to the Proving Grounds with me. And the Proving Grounds, from what I know, was like a training facility where you trained about things like self-defense and shooting guns and a little bit of everything. So let's roll the clip right here. This is like 4:30 in the morning. So no sound on the video, but he turns around because he hears the door open aggressively. Now, you have 3 males, and one of the males at this point is still outside. The other one is inside with a bag. It's like, are you trick-or-treating or what? But anyway, and the other guy comes in straight amateur hour because he has his gun sideways with one hand. It's like, okay, you're not really trying to shoot that. You're just trying to intimidate him. Is it even a real gun? I'm not sure. But if you brandishing it like that, it probably is real, or I'm going to treat it as if it's real. So James is like, okay, we're not doing this right now. It's not going to happen. So with his, what appears to be left hand, he reaches out and he grabs the guy's wrist and pulls the weapon up. Okay, so you can see it right there in the freeze frame. Grabs the weapon and then leans his body into him, and he just happened to have the bag in his hand. So the bag was filled with drinks and whatnot. It's kind of heavy a little bit. So he just strikes him with the bag in his face. So as he was grabbing the weapon, he kind of like punched him in the face with the bag. So it kind of worked out perfectly. And when he did that, the guys that with him ran away. So they weren't really ready. They didn't have any guns on them. They were just there rolling on with the one guy that had the gun. You see that? Look, guy right there is on the ground, scampering away, pants sagging. You're not really ready to do no kind of robbery. Not at all. So yeah, shout out to him. But these guys were amateurs. And also, one thing about it is James Kilser is trained to do this. Marine Corps veteran, of course, that's one thing. You know, train in combat and military, but also he trains a lot. He goes to the proving grounds. He trains all the time for things like this. So I don't advise that regular normie go out there and just do that. You know, don't try to be a hero if you're not ready to be a hero. That's not really what you want to do. You want to try to save your own life in that situation rather than trying to be a hero if you have no training. You see what I'm saying? Because these guys, from what's going on here, probably are not trying to shoot. They want to try to get some money and get out of there. But if you train to do something like that, then hey, that's great that we have guys that are going to be ready to protect not only themselves, but others around them. And again, I'm not sure that James was armed. I don't know if he was or if he wasn't. They didn't ask him on Fox. He could have been, but maybe he wasn't. But again, this goes to show that your defense is not only your weapon, it's also how you are able to use your, hand-to-hand combat, being aware of what's happening around you. Have your head on so far all the time. Like when I'm around just anywhere where I'm walking, I'm always aware of what's happening around me. Always. I drive sometimes and I see guys in the street, not even looking, on his cell phone, walking slow. It's like you're not really aware of what's happening. Anything can happen to you at this particular point. You always want to be aware of what's going on. But shout out to my man. And that was a great interview you did on Fox. Speaking about James. No, not in trouble at all. He's good. No trouble. This is in Yuma, Arizona. If he was in California, it might be a different story. They might try to say, oh, it's an assault case. Nah, he's in Arizona, so it's fine. No trouble at all. He was on Fox giving an interview, so it's all good. And he did an interview on Fox with a great ending. Let's put it on the screen right here. And let's check it out.
A beer if you want one. Thanks so much,
I'll
James.
take a beer, please.
Beer? Get him a beer, everybody, and I'd love to buy you one as well on me in Yuma, Arizona. Thank you so much, James.
Yeah. And remember, Epstein didn't kill himself.
Okay, got it. Very clever. Well, Trace, I mean, he is amazing. Imagine if he'd been on that train. I think that beer.
Exactly. So shout out to my man, James Kilser. Epstein did not kill himself. 100%. If you see him, get him a beer as he requested. Go ahead and get that done. And they also brought up the whole thing about the train. I did see that case. I didn't cover it. It's a little bit too graphic for YouTube, but there was a woman being assaulted on a train by an illegal alien, by the way. Shouldn't even been here at all. He was an illegal alien. But nobody did anything. It just watched while it happened. And you got to have guys like James to be able to intervene in situations like that. Sometimes I understand you really don't want to get involved. You don't know what's going on. But you got to have guys like that. Shout out to my man, James, 100%, for being a comedian, number one, and number two, a protector. Good dude right there. Yeah, Jazzy, that's where he goes. James talking about the proving grounds. He was saying to the guy across the counter, hey, man, stop doing this, convenience store clerk stuff. Come to the proving grounds with me. Let's train. Let's get it. He was talking about training and stuff like that when the robbery happened. So that was evidence to the clerk that you got to have some training for sure. Yeah, hit him with a bag of some Gatorade energy drinks, just like beer cans, basically. Thank you for tea. All right. What was that? Dana Perino? Is that it? Okay, that's what it was. That's what I thought it was. Alpha male, 100% correct. 1,000% correct. So yeah, shout out to my man James Kilser out there in Yuma, Arizona for saving the day. All right, nobody got hurt. It was all good. And them amateurs, you know what? Just to anybody out there that want to rob somebody, just don't, man. Just go home, get a job. And my thing is, what are you still doing robbing stores anyway? There's so much money out here. You can pretty much get, again, $20,000 in food stamps on a card. You could get free legal money from the federales. What are you doing robbing stores? Are you a dope fiend or what? But I digress. I'm not saying it's right to get this free money from the federales, but at least do that if you're going to be, a scammer or whatever, rather than trying to rob people with a gun and go to the penitentiary forever. What are you going to get from a convenience store at 4:30 in the morning anyway? What, $100? I mean, it's at a certain point, that's called stupidity, all right? Stimulus checks, jobs paying $1,000 an hour. You go to McDonald's right now. I saw a sign that said $21 an hour to work at McDonald's. Whenever I see anybody at the shopping centers around here with a sign begging on the street, I'm like, look, man, there are so many help wanted signs everywhere. You can go into anywhere right now. You could be a crack smoker. you could be a multiple time felon, whatever you want, and go work somewhere, and you get paid handsomely. They're talking about giving out iPhones for a bonus to work at McDonald's, $20 an hour. There's no excuses. If you on the street, homeless, it's because you want to be. You probably smoke crack, or you just like being free. You like camping. You like urban camping. You enjoy urban camping. You are an urban camping influencer. That's what you are. But I digress. So, what else we got going on? So, okay. Shout out to everybody watching. You guys are the best. Condoleezza Rice set all the View ladies straight. I really enjoyed that one about critical race theory. Can I pull it up right quick? Let's see if I can. And let's go to it right quick. Here we are. This is from Christopher Rufo, the video at least, and it originally came from Myth Inform Milwaukee. Shout out to you guys, Christopher Rufo and Myth Inform MKE Milwaukee, I suppose. Let's see. Condoleezza Rice, the caption says, Condoleezza Rice denounces critical race theory, arguing that it condemns white students as guilty and condemns black students as disempowered. Throw the clip right quick.
The whole issue of critical race theory and what is and is not being taught. I come out of an academic institution, and this is something that academics debate, what is the role of race and so forth. And let me be very clear. I grew up in segregated Birmingham, Alabama. I couldn't go to a movie theater or to a restaurant with my parents. I went to segregated schools till we moved to Denver. My parents never thought I was going to grow up in a world without prejudice, but they also told me that's somebody else's problem, not yours. You're going to overcome it, and you are going to be anything you want to be. And that's the message that I think we ought to be sending to kids. One of the worries that I have about the way that we're talking about race is that it either seems so big that somehow white people now have to feel guilty for everything that happened in the past. I don't think that's very productive. Or black people have to feel disempowered by race. I would like black kids to be completely empowered, to know that they are beautiful in their blackness. But in order to do that, I don't have to make white kids feel bad for being white. So somehow this is a conversation that has gone in the wrong direction.
It's simple, very simple. You know, and this whole thing about race is just kind of dumb because a lot of it, when they try to push critical race theory, all they're doing is just attacking people based on their race. And they get attacked in different ways, right? They get attacked. If you're a white, you get attacked for being the so-called oppressor. it's weird because they want to quote unquote dismantle white supremacy, but at the same time they uphold it. They say the white person is the oppressor, they're the ruler, they're the dominant. It's like they praise the white man, but they're spiteful for the white man being praised. It's the dumbest thing in the world. How about don't praise any race above the other? Treat everybody how they come to you. If somebody comes to you and they are good, they behave right, they act right, treat them that way. Treat them as such. It's simple, right? Or at least it should be simple to me. But apparently it's kind of difficult for those that are in academia to understand a simple fact. Treat everyone the way that they come to you. If you have an aggressive person that want to fight, spitting in your face, then they got to be treated a little bit differently than a person that's really nice and calm and respectful. It don't matter if they're black, white, Puerto Rican, candy stripe. It's really irrelevant. And black kids and non-whites often end up feeling like victims. Oh, it's the white man's fault. I didn't do anything. No responsibility. So when you go out there, you shooting and killing, robbing and thugging and drugging, oh, it's the white man's fault, not my fault. There's always someone to blame rather than looking at yourself and seeing what you can do to improve yourself. You see, it goes with academia. It goes into the workforce and everything else. So if you're at a job working and you're not doing your best to climb the ladder, you're not doing your best to advance in your skills, things of that nature, and then the whites and Asians are doing what's needed to climb and advance and whatnot, and not only in the workplace, but also in education, in college, things of that nature, in high school, K through 12 education, public, private. If you're not doing what's needed to arise as the other races are, then it doesn't become, I need to do more, I got to tighten up, I got to improve. It's, well, the reason why I'm not advancing is because of the white man. It's a dumb way to think, but people think that way because of critical race theory. And the argument from the left is ain't no such thing as critical race theory in K through 12. It's a law school program, all this and that and the third. But that's not true. We all know that critical race theory is most certainly being taught in K through 12. As a matter of fact, I found a supercut video. Here we go. Again, shout out to Myth Informed MKE. This is a clip from him. A supercut is about a minute and some change long, featuring the mainstream media say, hey, you know what? There's no mainstream media that doesn't, there's no critical race theory that doesn't exist. It's a right-wing talking point. It's a tinfoil hat talking point. And at the end of it, you're going to see the left in academia disprove all of what the mainstream media said. Check it out.
Of course, it's all complete BS. Critical race theory isn't taught in Virginia schools or in any K through 12 schools in this country. It is a university-level law school course examining the ways in which racism as a structure is embedded in our legal system and our government policies.
Just in case anyone doesn't know, they don't teach critical race theory to kids in K through 12 schools. That's not a thing anywhere in the country, including in Virginia.
Prevent kids from feeling like they're oppressed or they're oppressors. Where was this happening? Like, this has been sort of where I keep it. Did somebody actually teach this anywhere in school? Because I haven't found any evidence of it.
I have not been able to find one verifiable piece of evidence that critical race theory made its way into Texas schools or other schools throughout the United States, for that matter. It's a graduate level concept, really a law school course. It's not taught in K through 12.
Right. Critical race theory is not taught in elementary school. It is barely taught in law schools, frankly, in the level that it should.
I got a question right quick before we continue with this supercut of them denying critical race theory. Why is it that your man, Donald Lemon, as man Jericho Green would say, why is he always with this face, this kind of like spiteful, hateful face? Why is that always right there? Do you enjoy your job, sir? Are you having a good time? Did you have fun over at CNN? What's going on? Are you still kind of like, you got a little bit of anxiety about sexual assault case? I don't know, but I'll digress.
Should be taught.
The next resolution is 68 in support of critical race theory in public K-12 education. This resolution outlines the U.S. Conference of Mayors' support for the implementation of critical race theory in public education. Are there any questions or comments on number 68? If not, I move for adoption. All in favor, please raise your hand.
Now, about 3 raised their hand right here. from what I'm able to see, only 3 raised their hand out of about, 11?
Any opposed, please verbally signal nay.
Nobody said no anything. Nobody raised their hand at all.
The ayes have it. Next is
boom. And that goes on all over the US of A. And if it's not direct like that, if it's not overt like that, they do it in different ways. Okay? These teachers are going out of control. These teachers have lost their mind. If it's not CRT, talking about white man's bad, black man victim, if it's not that, they're just kind of crazy in general. Have you guys seen that teacher with the Indian stuff on, dancing around? Now, I think before I even get to it, I'm not offended at somebody doing some kind of cultural dance or something like that, but this lady was just crazy. It's like, what are you even doing? Get off the table, ma'am. Matter of fact, hold on. Let's find it right quick. We got to find this one. We got to find it because stuff like this is now becoming common. And my question is, okay, if you have kids in public school, do you want them to have these nut job teachers anywhere near your kids? Hold on. This might be it right here. Here we go. I found it. Here we go. Let's check it out. This is a teacher in a class. These appear to be like middle school or high school kids, kind of like 12, 13-year-old, I suppose. And their teacher has on some makeshift feathers and a little visor type thingamabob with some kind of Indian stuff on. I know it, Jenny JT. I know it's not you. You guys in the chat, it's a lot of you guys out there that are teachers. They're doing a great job. I know it's not you guys, but some of your colleagues, you got to admit, when you go into, the first day and you seeing a bunch of blue hair just kind of flinging around, you know it's going to be a long year, right? But here's the teacher with her Indian costume on doing a crazy dance. So now she went from running around the class, screeching. I'm not sure what she was screeching. I don't really know the context here, but she's on top of the desk, sitting down, kind of like yoga style, with her feet like on the desk and her knees up like toward her shoulders. If you understand what I'm saying? Like sitting down, but like almost like fetal position.
Again, I ask you, please tell me the secret Indian chant. Please. And then I hear.
Is she on drugs? And of course, she is wearing a mask, because you got to wear a mask when you're doing your crazy, ridiculous nut job Indian prayer dance in the classroom in front of the kids that are like 12 years old.
Because obviously this is ridiculous.
So she started like on top of a desk, like stomping on top of a desk. So again, I'm not offended at the native stuff. I'm not native, so that's not really for me to be offended by. But what's going on? Are you okay, ma'am? What's happening? Kind of crazy, right? Exactly. Fruit Loop, rubber room time. Exactly. Put the straight jacket on and have a ball. Okay, that's right. Player 180. She's 0.001% Native American, so it's fine. That makes sense. Trying to channel her inner native. I got it. It makes perfect sense. Put her down. Hilarious. Okay. Moving right along, away from the ridiculous, crazy nut job teacher. And the kids, yes, look at the kids, Lisa. The kids are like, all right, this lady done lost it. This is crazy. I'm trying to figure out what's 1 + 1. Is it 2, or is it this lady dancing around in her Indian feathers? What's happening? So, speaking about crazy things, let's talk about Alec Baldwin. Now, we got to talk about it. We can't avoid it. Alec Baldwin accidentally, from what I know, this could change, but I'm just saying what I know right now. Alec Baldwin, the actor who played Trump on SNL like 40 times in a year or something crazy like that, he wound up accidentally shooting and killing his coworker on a movie called Rust in New Mexico. So apparently what happened is somebody on set, I think it was an assistant director, handed him a gun that should have been the prop gun. And I'm not sure what the context was. That's still coming out. I'm seeing different things. I saw one story that said that he was kind of horse playing because they were doing a scene that called for the gun to be used. And then the person, cinematographer, whoever, the director may have said, okay, let's do it again. And then Alex said, do it again. I'll shoot both of y'all or something like that. And then he shot the gun, kind of horse playing, and then it actually shot. That could be true. That may not be true. I don't really know. All that I do know is that he had the gun, thought it was a prop gun, might have been a prop gun, or a gun that had blanks in it, and he shot it. It shot the cinematographer, Helena Hutchins. May she rest in peace. Very unfortunate, very sad. She was married for like 16 years, and I think she had at least 1 or 2 kids. Really sad. Rest in peace. But the gun shot, the bullet hit her. It went through her and then hit the director, Joe Sousa. He is okay, but he was in surgery or something like that for a while at the hospital, but he was treated and released ultimately. So the question is, what happened here? How did this happen? Did we have blanks in the gun? Because with blanks, if you kind of like right up close on it, it could still hurt you because there could be shrapnel or something inside that can exit and then injure you. Now, if it goes through you, kills you, and it hits somebody else, that's probably a real bullet. So the question is, who did that and why? Is it Alec Baldwin's fault that he did that? Some say, yes, it is his fault because it doesn't matter if you handed a gun or not. If you have it and you shoot it and somebody dies, it's your fault what comes out. I'm not sure if that's necessarily true or false. I mean, because if you're on a movie set and someone gives you a gun and say it's not a real gun and you shoot it, or they say it got blanks and you shoot it and then it is a real gun, it does not have blanks in it, has a real bullet, I mean, who is responsible for that? It reminds me of what happened to Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee's son, back in the 90s on a movie called The Crow, where it was supposed to be a prop gun, but it wound up being real and it killed him on the set. I don't know what's going to happen to Alec Baldwin, but Alec Baldwin is in a really tough spot here because he's a big-time anti-gun person, big-time anti-conservative person, big-time guy that's against us who would understand what's going on a little bit more than the left. They're trying to say now it won't be any more guns on set of movies, no more prop guns. They're going to have CGI instead, things of that nature. So they're trying to, kind of crack down on guns. Meanwhile, he was using the gun. And understand this, Alec Baldwin was the boss. It's his movie. So you want to talk about how anti-gun you are in real life, but then when it comes to the movie, well, pardon me, he's anti-gun on Twitter, not necessarily real life. In real life, in this movie, he has guns in the movie, and he has a real gun that winds up killing somebody. So maybe you shouldn't be so anti-gun and do a little bit of gun safety. I'm just saying. He said a bunch of things about things that are like this that are going to come back to bite him. There was one situation where I think it was a police shooting where the person that the officer was arresting was resisting. And there was a scuffle, and then the suspect wound up getting shot and killed. And then Alec Baldwin was trying to like mock him, talking about, I wonder how it feels to kill somebody when you shouldn't have, or something to that extent. Well, here we are. I don't wish that on Alec Baldwin or anybody else, but it's like, what's going to happen when you behave this way? What's going to be the result of that? Again, prayers out to all those that were affected by this, but Alec Baldwin in many ways did it to himself. So now what you going to do? I don't know, but it's crazy. It's totally crazy. They're talking about, one thing about it was, matter of fact, I'm going to go further. I'm going to tell you why it's Alec Baldwin's fault. Alec Baldwin may not necessarily be at fault for that particular incident as far as the gun having the bullet in the chamber or not. That remains to be seen. But what I do know is that the set was dangerous. They already had not one, not two, but three, quote unquote, accidental guns going off, discharging on the set. 3. There was a text from somebody on the set to somebody else that said that this is super dangerous. You already had 3 discharged accidentally, all this and that. The set was so dangerous and janky, the cast, well, the staff, the supporting staff had left. The union staff that were trained for this left, walked out. And what did they do? They replaced them with locals from Mexico, just guys on the street. On Craigslist, do you want to be in the movie? Do you know how to handle guns? All right, come to the set of the movie. So you had a bunch of amateurs running the set. You already had an unsafe environment, and Alec Baldwin was the head of it was his movie. So if you have an unsafe situation, a bunch of inexperienced guys running it, you already got a bunch of guns going off accidentally and whatnot, and then it finalizes with a gun going off and killing somebody, and you're the boss, that's your fault. Even if it's not your fault that the gun that you had was loaded with real bullets, it's your fault for the whole situation that happened. It's your fault because you dismissed those, the one that tried to educate you about guns and whatnot and get you on the right path. It's your fault. All that he did throughout his more recent life led to this moment. So he will be the one that is ultimately responsible for what happened here. In my humble opinion, they'll talk about the person that was in charge of the weapon, of course, yes. But it's his show. Okay, probably not criminally responsible. He definitely gonna get sued. Oh yeah. The woman who died, her husband said that Alec Baldwin had been really supportive and whatnot, but he will get sued. Don't think anything otherwise, for sure. If he doesn't settle right now and just give like $1 billion or whatever he has in his, he's going to get sued and he's going to be done. And that's on him. And you know what? I'm not sure why the gun was pointed at Helena Hutchins. I have no idea. I don't know why the gun was pointed in their direction. Again, this could have been horseplay. If it was horseplay, now he's going to the penitentiary because you were doing a thing that was not even in the script. You're just playing with the gun. You don't play with guns, period. Loaded, unloaded, you do not play with guns. You treat every gun as if it's live and loaded, ready to rock and kill somebody, period. Now, if you're in the movie and you got to deal with guns for the movie, you got to check and double check and triple check that it is safe to use. As a matter of fact, you spending all this money on stuff in movie sets, create guns that simply are not real. I've had guns that looked like they were real, but they were totally fake, like BB guns with nothing in them. So you couldn't actually hurt somebody with it. You see, there's got to be a way to do that rather than just shooting somebody and they mess around and die. And again, there had already been problems on the set before that. Accidental discharges, unsafe environment, things of that nature. It's most certainly his fault. So yeah, SNL's a done deal. He probably was playing around, dude. And if he was playing around, he's done. You're kaput. If it was not for the movie, essentially, you just playing around with the gun and somebody dies, oh, nah, he's done. Completely done. Nope. Because if it was part of the set, if it was part of the movie and whatnot, and you just, if something goes wrong, there's an accident, that's different. Because you see guys do stunts and stuff like that, you know, body doubles to do a stunt and then they die or something. That happens. It's an accident. But if you point a gun at somebody and shoot it, playing around and they die, oh, nah, no. But we'll see what happens. You know, these big Hollywood guys like Alec Baldwin, they can do whatever they want, right? They can do whatever they want, say whatever they want, you know, but it's crazy because guys like Alec Baldwin and Anthony Fauci as well, I think, will be praised by the left for a brief period of time. Alec Baldwin is a big Never Trump guy. Like I said, he had performed as Trump like 40 times on SNL in like a year, just attacking him over and over again. being a bad president or whatever. BLM, Antifa, all this, anti-police, defund the police, all that. That's him. So the left support him. But now, are they going to support him? Anthony Fauci, it came out that Rand Paul was right about the whole NIH funding thing. A few months back, I think it might have been in June or July of this year, Anthony Fauci was being pressed by Rand Paul about how the NIH was funding Ecolab research, which then funded the Wuhan research into the bats, which created the virus. The whole lab leak, quote unquote, theory, which is what happened. That's what happened. I don't care. It's talking about it came from a random bat in Wuhan. Somebody ate bat soup and they spread it. Come on, stop. Stop the cap, as the cool kids say. Stop the nonsense. It was a lab leak because China sucks. Some random person in there just playing around with the virus, let it out, and now millions have been infected, thousands, if not millions, are dead. You got all kind of stuff going on, people getting locked in their own houses for no reason, all because it was funded by American taxpayers. China, why would you let China do something like that? They are the worst when it comes to quality control. Go to a hospital in China right now, try to find a bar of soap anywhere, trying to find any kind of sanitation, any kind of level of control, any kind of building codes that they adhere to. Okay? They build an elevator and it's collapsed in a year. That's China. Why would you trust them? Why would you give them money to create a bioweapon? So Rand Paul was right. Now that the information is out there. So Anthony Fauci is going to fade away from the light. Fauci was the apple of their eye for a long time, the same as your man. What was his name again? I didn't forget it now. He was on TV every day. He was the poster boy for the left's attack against Trump. What's his name? Michael Cohen, the lawyer, the Stormy Daniels lawyer. I don't know what his name is. You know what I'm talking. Avenatti. He was everywhere. Did like 120 appearances on CNN and MSNBC, everywhere else. Over 100 appearances on television. He's done now. You don't see him no more. I forgot his name. Fauci would be the same way. Baldwin would be the same way. Once they're done with you, you're not going to be the top. These guys think they're going to be like the stars and the president. Nope. Once you're done, you get tossed away, discarded, like trash. That's what happens. But I digress. You guys are the best anywhere on the internet. Thank you for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. If you enjoy what you're hearing so far, go ahead and get the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. I got to everything, I suppose. The Amazon driver, that was crazy as well. I almost forgot about that part. To touch on that briefly, there was an Amazon driver that got caught basically spying on women in bathrooms and people's houses and whatnot because he had, what he would do was go to bathrooms with this ridiculous, crazy Dolly Parton, Tina Turner type wig on and a mask over his face to disguise who he was. And he had cameras on his shoes. So he would go up under stalls and he had a cell phone in his hand. He had pictures of little girls, kids, boys and girls on his phone. This is why you don't allow men into the women's restroom. I don't care how they identify. They can identify as the last good idea on earth. It doesn't matter how they identify. They should not be allowed into the women's restroom. I don't care what it is. People say you can't discriminate against LGBTQ, element of P, X, Y, and Z, 1, 2, 3. It don't matter. We know that these men are going to be out there and they're going to try to take advantage of that law for their own sick purposes. And we see the proof of it happen. We see the proof is in the pudding. We see it. You got guys getting locked up left and right for doing exactly what I said. What we all said would happen. What anybody with a brain would say would happen if you allow men into the women's restroom. We saw it in Northern Virginia where a 12-year-old girl was assaulted by a boy that went to her school because he said he was transgender. All you got to do, matter of fact, and I was asking the question on the show last night with Brandon Tatum, or pardon me, on Thursday night, and I was asking a simple question. It's like, what is a qualification to become a transformer, right? What's the threshold you got to pass? What's the boundary you got to pass to become trans? Is it surgery? Is it hormones, makeup, wig? Like, what is the boundary to go from male to female that you got to pass? And Savannah was like, well, all you got to do is say it, basically. Apparently, all you got to do is say it. So you could be Dennis Rodman, 6'8" basketball player, dunking on fools. You could just say, you know what? I'm a girl now. I got on a wedding dress and I look crazy. I look like Tu Wong Fu mixed with Super Shredder from Ninja Turtles and the biggest guy you ever seen in your life. Do you know how big Dennis Rodman is? Imagine that guy talking about, I'm a woman now. But again, all you got to do is say it, and then now you're a woman. It's so dumb. And I hope one day we can look back on this and laugh at it. And I hope we're not going down the idiocracy road where they say, if you put water on crops, you're dumb because water comes from toilets. I don't want to go that direction, but I feel like we're kind of already there. It's just a matter of progressing to the point where we're just completely dumb. But anyway, I'll move on. Super chats on deck. I'm going to get to those right quick, and then we get to the calls. The number to call is right there, 434-658-1220. I'll get to that in a minute. Shout out to Leo Mazzino, who says, these people that want Dave Chappelle canceled because he did to their feelings, because what he did to their feelings, but will have no problems leaving cuties on Netflix. Exactly. Yeah, they don't mind cuties. That's totally fine, but Dave Chappelle hurt their feelings, and they got to cancel him. Thank you to Jasper T. Jones, who says, yo, ABL, I love you, man. Never caught a live stream before. Love your work. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. Glad you're joining us. Thank you to Constellation Pegasus, who says, isn't it weird how all the protests in burning cities quit after Trump left office? Exactly. Yeah, that was just that the budget was opened from the DNC and other little groups just like that to create panic, to create discord, to try to influence the election. Very simple. Thank you to Apple for a few supers here, who says, shout out to Marine Jamie Kilser. Stopping a robbery. ABL, your dear father was a Marine. Shout out to all Leatherneck Devil Dogs, the Few, the Proud, the Marine, Semper Fi. Shout out to all U.S. military. Yeah, shout out to everybody in the military. Shout out to Dad. He definitely was a Marine. He also says, R.I.P. Helena Hutchins. History repeats. R.I.P. John Eric Hexum, October 1984. Set TV show Cover Up. R.I.P. Brandon Lee. Set of the Crow, March 1993. ABL, you are a big proponent of gun safety. So important. It's very important to have gun safety. Guns are not toys, period. So if he was playing around with that gun and shot and killed her, I say, give him the rope straight up, because you can't play around with guns like that and kill people. You know that. Alec Baldwin is a whole grown man. I can see if you're like a little boy, like a toddler, and you don't know any better. You don't know what's going on. You only know what a gun is. You do something like that, not understanding what's happening, but you're in your 60s, sir. That's your fault. If keyword, you played with the gun and then the unfortunate happened. Apple said, awesome live stream Thursday, Brandon Tatum, Savannah, and McGee, pardon me. Very heartfelt discussion topics. Hope you can get to VIP book launch in Tucson on Tuesday, November 30th. That's a plan. I plan on being in Tucson on November 30th. That's a Tuesday. So that's going to be something I work toward. Well, I'll let you guys know, like, probably in a few days what I'm going to do with that. Thank you to Apple again, who says, ABL, when the virus is over, how about an ABL fan meet and greet? Invite Jericho, Modern Renaissance Man, Tatum, Oliver, Matt, too. That'd be awesome. We could have something barbecue. I may do that. I think the first one is going to be with Tatum as far as a meet and greet with all of us, but we'll see. Thank you to Farna Faye, who says, I'm a part of the LGB No T community. Let's go, Brandon. Shout out to the mutilated men, dudes, guys, males taking female achievement positions like Levine. Exactly. It's like, all right, you got all these feminists and regular normie women fighting for things that they want to do, achievements as women, and you have this person who was a man for like 50 years saying, you know what, I want to be a woman now. Now I'm going to take her position and say, I'm the first female 4-star admiral. What kind of, how does it make any sense? Why even say first female if it's not a female? If gender is irrelevant, then why mention it? It's so dumb. Auctions for You says, who honestly cares to whom she is married to? I'm not sure what that was about. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Apple says, I think normals are waking up to the fact that 1-6 was an inside job. At Garland hearing in Congress, Rep. Massey played the video of Baked Alaska calling out the Fed rate EPS. Got 1 million views. I saw one particular clip where there was a guy, might have been the same guy, might have been Ray Epps, I'm not sure who it was, but he kept saying, hey, tomorrow, let's go into the Capitol, let's go in. And the way he was saying it, it was like nobody was really around him, but there was a camera on him. It was weird. It was really weird. These federales are not very slick. If you're aware of what's going on, you're able to kind of like pick up on body language and whatnot. You're able to, you saw that guy was not really legitimate. He was probably a federale and just out in the open, not even really trying to hide it that well. The anti-view says, 620 Omar says, quote, the police department is right into the root. And so when we dismantle it, we get rid of that cancer, unquote. And then there's emojis. Tonight, what she did in the emojis, tonight she tells town hall riots and violence can be blamed on the police who have, quote, chosen to not fulfill their oath, unquote, facepalm. Exactly. It's dumb. If you eliminate some of the police, you fire them, force them to quit, reduce their funding, you're going to have more crime as a result. How is it possible to have less crime with fewer police officers? It doesn't make any sense. But they say things like that because a lot of the normies out there that believe them don't know any better. Apple says, please pray for MAGA patriots held in solitary in D.C. jail, like Troy Smocks, black vet, and Trump supporter. Please see Patriot Freedom Project for info. Defund the FBI, fire all DOJ, let's go Brandon. And Auctions for You says, wow, that sounds like Nazi Germany. Talking about the guy that had the coffee in the cup that was being checked by the police out there in Australia. Crazy. Fauna Face says, Biden ought to be ashamed of himself saying law enforcement need to take a tax to serve and protect as well as keep their jobs. He's straight nutty for real. Exactly. Biden don't know what's going on from day to day. Did you guys see my short video? And matter of fact, I'll post more of those actually just for you guys here on the YouTubes. Matter of fact, I'm pull it up right quick because Biden, I mean, what's going on? Like, jokes aside, what's going on with your man, Joe Biden? Is he okay? Is he having a problem?
About that.
Hold on, let's put it up right quick. I ain't gonna play the audio. The video is all we need right now. So what's going on here? Anybody want to fill me in? What's happening with your man, Joe? I mean, really, why is he clenching his fist like this for like a good 20 seconds?
Us at a town hall, I think it was in July, that this was just near term.
I mean, do you see his face? Obviously, he's not there. The lights are on, but nobody is home. Can he make it to 2024? It's only just a few months into his terms, not even the full year, not even the full 12 months, and he is checked out. He's there physically, but mentally he's not.
The Wall Street Journal recently talks to like 60.
Like, he was like that, frozen like that, like this for a good 20 seconds. What's happening? I mean, really. I tell you what, though, I didn't feel bad posting the memes. I did not feel bad. I'm sorry. Because some may feel bad for Joe in this state like that. If it was a normie, I'd feel bad. I'd be like, man, okay, get him a nursing home, get him into somewhere, and, let's figure out what's happening. But I don't feel bad because I remember all the people losing their jobs, being forced to get vaxxed. He's supporting it. You ain't black. All things he's done over the years, and especially right now, the supply chain shortage, the inflation, all the things that are going on, then I remember, okay, I don't have sympathy for this man. Now, is it messed up that he's there? Should he be in office? No, he shouldn't be in office. Regardless of what, Democrat, Republican, I mean, come on. The man is obviously not well. He shouldn't be in office. But it's his own people that are doing it to him. They did it, not me. I don't want to have that guy looking like he's pretty much dead out there on the stage, but they did it to him. I didn't do it. It's not my fault. Not at all. So let's go, Brandon. It is what it is. Straight up. You know what? I'll say this. How about this? How about we vote him out next time so he's able to go home? And he deserves to go home and just relax. How about that? And I think that's fair. I mean, how can he make it 3 more years? How is that possible? I don't really understand, but I'll move on. Let me see. Apple says, WNBA champs parade Chicago. You see ABL comments? I saw that quote unquote parade. Nobody was there. Nobody attended that parade. That parade was sad, really, because I think I showed it last time on the show, if I'm not mistaken. But the parade, nobody was there because nobody really wants to watch the WNBA. Who cares? Like, the women don't care. Women don't really watch sports like that. Not like men do. Women do watch sports a little bit, but men are sports fans. 90% of the NBA, 80% of the NFL or more are men watching it only and not women. It's just a fact. Okay, just like women are going to be nurses more than men, there are some male nurses, but it's dominated by women. Men are going to watch sports. It's dominated by men. Even the female sports are probably watched more by men. So this parade right here was totally sad. There's nobody there. There's a parade with a bunch of buses. And they're on top of the buses, the team and the staff on top of the buses. And it's supposed to be like, there's fans in the street waving and whatnot, but there was nobody there. Now, there was an event that they went to that was crowded, but the only reason why it was crowded is because you had Chance the Rapper and a bunch of other people that were actually celebrities. The WNBA were just there as fans themselves. The event was not for them. That parade was for them, and nobody was there because nobody watches the WNBA. It sucks. It is what it is. It's not even about being sexist against women. Women's tennis is cool. Women's golf is even cool to a certain extent. If you like golf, women's golf is all right. Gymnastics, that's cool. But basketball, I'm not trying to see these kind of rough-looking chicks miss layups for 45 minutes in a row. That's not really my wave. But anyway, I digress. We got a few more here. I'll get to the calls in a minute, I promise. Leo Mazzina says that Australian government has gone beyond communism. That's correct. Apple says favorite 80s TV, Dukes of Hazzard, 18, Miami Vice, Magnum P.I. Well, I was born in the 80s, so at that time I was not really watching that, obviously. I was watching like cartoons and stuff at that age. But I did see old stuff later, like on Nick at Night when I was like 8, 9, 10. So I was watching like I Dream of Jeannie and Dragnet, stuff like that. I enjoyed Dragnet. You're talking about old shows. That was my wave back in the day, Dragnet. That was I love Dragnet. But I never watched Dukes of Hazzard or A-Team or anything like that. Thank you to Eric Burns Marsh, who says, invade Australia, ? It doesn't have poppy fields. Exactly. What are you going to get? Are you going to get them spiders, them kangaroos? I don't want them spiders. I'm intending to see we got enough of that here. I ain't trying to have no super spider get created, no Black Widow / Huntsman. I ain't trying to see no spider that's like this big with a red hourglass on his back. If I see that, then I'm leaving. I'm going to Mars. But anyway, I'll move on. Valerie Rogers says, I'm a professional coward, not a Marine. There you go. I'm with you. I understand. Fauna Face says, you saw where Eddie Winslow backflip and twirl out the closet by kissing on Sydney Starr. Hey, Darius, you do you, girl. Hey, I no comment on that one. That was crazy. Yeah, shout out to Eddie Winslow. Mark Stravino says, ABL, my son runs around saying I digress all day. Also, who you like better as a host, Brian Stelzer or Don Lemon? Wow. First of all, shout out to you, son. Learning them early, right? But Brian Stelter or Don Lemon, man, that's like saying, what do I like better? Do I like, I don't know. I don't want to give it a bad. They're both terrible. But I probably would pick, not the one. If it's between, if they said, if they got a gun in my head and saying, yo, Brian Stelter or Don Lemon, I'm like, hey, man, you just got to go ahead and just do what you got to do, man. I don't want to pick. Curtis Reynolds says, CRT is a method of instilling Marxism. Plain and simple. Marxist gonna Marxism. Correct. Liam Messina says, if CRT is not being taught, then why some homework assignments ask them about race? Exactly. Fauna Face says, I guess we can see now what the Lena Lakes lady has been up to lately. Tom Muller says, Alec is doing God's work. We're taking Hollywood down one at a time. Now, I ain't going to say all that now, but yeah, shout out to Alec Baldwin. He's going to be going to the penitentiary pretty soon, probably. Christopher Graves says, first off, how in the H can a single live round even come remotely close to a movie set? It doesn't make any sense. Something else going on here. Peace up, ABL. Love my BHE flags. Amazing quality and craftsmanship. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the BHE flags. And again, if you like these flags that are behind me, go to bhedesigns.com. Good plug right there. But that's my question. Why is there any live ammo on the set? Why? That's a very good question. Thank you for that. Thank you to Jeff Dunhauser, who says the left's complaint is that CRT itself isn't being taught. Praxis is the issue. Left is suddenly concerned about First Amendment now after banning the books in school with Huckleberry Finn. Hypocrites. Exactly. Rules for thee, but not for me. Ian Randall says, amen, brother. Lots of love from Australia. Thank you for that. Shout out to Australia. You know, we praying for you guys out there because I know it's rough. I know it is rough out there for y'all. All right. Shout out to Renard Thomas for the laughing emoji. Thank you to Mitchell Williams, who says, yo, ABL, I was the one who donated on Brandon channel the other night when money off Trump stock. When you make money off Trump stock, couldn't forget about you. Oh, I appreciate that, man. Thank you for that. Ricky Lee says, let's go, Brandon. C. Bree says, let's go, Brandon. US. I need Let's Go Brandon merch. I know I was kind of late to the party with trying to make some merch, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Why not? Why not? Thank you to Ian Kenny, who says Biden was pooping in his Depends. Epstein's ghost says, what we're seeing now is Dr. Richard Day's NWO 69 agenda, speech agenda, pushing LGBT and trans. Only thing I'm thankful is Christ returning soon. Get ready. Thank you to Mitch Morris for your donation, the hype emoji. Thank you to Ian Kenny, who says they're getting ready for RFID chips. Sweden already uses them. A Wisconsin company implanted their employees to test how they work. We will all have environmental, social, and governance ESG scores, the Great Reset. Christy Larson says people with dementia/Alzheimer's crab up, ball up their fists to self-soothe when they get stressed or confused. I've heard that. They say that's like dementia posturing. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, Biden is dealing with something like that. We've seen multiple clues over a period of time now that point to that. So, thank you for that super chat. Definitely appreciate you. But the number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. The number is always in the description box below. And let's get straight to it. Hopefully Skype works. If it doesn't work, it's not my fault. Blame the white man for that because I didn't do it. There's also a Skype email in the box below. If you want to be right here in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, call me on that. We'll get rocking and rolling. So the call lines are now open, 434-658-1220. All right, 972, you're on the line. I'm speaking to.
Yo, Mr. ABL, this is Daryl, Unified.
All righty, man. What's going on?
What's going on, dude? Hey, quick question. For Dragnet, was that the one where the dude would walk down that long hallway and then get in the elevator at the end?
I don't remember exactly, but I think so. I know it was black and white. I know the theme. Yeah, I think that might have been it.
I think he walked down there. Yeah, super long hallway, and he finally gets to the elevator at the end. I thought that was kind of cool too. That was my show back in the day.
Yeah.
I still watch Three's Company. But but good question. I saw your video earlier about the Candace Owens deal with the Guardian. To me, like, okay, I got a question for you because I already gave my opinion on it and stuff. But what do you think they hope to accomplish by that? I understand the media does that all the time, and I remember I talked to you on Instagram about this, where you said that's exactly why you like to do things live, so they can't chop up stuff that you say. And so, that's what they love to do. But honestly, how much do you think they're really hoping to accomplish by that? People were easily going to watch her entire monologue and see that she didn't say that. So what's the whole point? I mean, just to piss her off, or what do you think that the whole agenda was about?
Well, it's all about just trying to twist her words. It's all it's about, because a lot of people may not necessarily watch her show, so they may not see the full thing. That's why when the news came out about she wanted to invade Australia, all they did was just upload the entire thing on Daily Wire's page and also on Candace Owens' page. So they can't just, the proof is right here. Here's what I said. That's not what I said. So I like having all the stuff out there live. So when someone tries to say something that I said, it's like, no, here it is live. It wasn't edited. It wasn't done after the fact. I got a time stamp. It's just like writing a check versus sending out cash. If I have a check, there's a record of it, when it was cashed, what was on it. If I put something on there, certain identification number, I'm able to track what's going on. I'm able to prove what I did or what I didn't do.
Right. That makes a whole lot of sense right there. Hopefully, I mean, honestly, I don't know how much she's going to get as far as, I mean, she could easily try to sue or something like that, but I mean, I don't know. I don't think much is going to come of it. They're just going to be shown as liars. And I think that's probably going to be it, because it's not going to be the last time. They're going to keep coming at her like that, especially after she posted that picture with her and Trump the other day, and she said something about 2024. And so, she talked before about throwing her hat in the ring for presidency. So I think that's another reason why they continue to come after her harder than before, because they're trying to do their early work like they did to Larry Elder. But that's still not going to work. I still think he's going to get in next year. So, but I appreciate your time, man. Love the show as always. And, catch you soon.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
That's a really good point about them trying to poison the well right now because she may become the presidential candidate or presidential hopeful. Very good point. Same thing to do with Ron DeSantis. They're trying to attack him a lot because they know he's very popular right now and he could become the next guy. Okay, let's go to already online. Speaking to 720.
But I appreciate your time, man. Love the show as always.
Hello, caller.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing, ABL?
I'm well. About yourself?
Hey, pretty good. Yeah, this is Russ from Denver. I haven't talked to you in, since the 2020 election, so it's I'm way overdue, man.
All right, man. So what's going on?
Well, I have been getting calls from the RNC quite a bit lately, and it's really been kind of getting on my nerves. I tell them over and over again, I said, look, how many Republicans stood with Trump on January 6th, the moment we had the opportunity to send the votes back to the states and try to get the entire voting irregularities fixed? And they go around. They try to say it's very important that we elect Republicans in the House and Senate and try to win both branches of government. And I said, look, here's the thing: unless the Republicans in the House and the Senate address the voting irregularity issues that were brought up during the 2020 election, we don't have a chance of winning the 2022 midterms and the 2024 election, because people like me are not going to vote. I'm sick of it. I am sick and tired of the RINOs trying to run as conservatives and then winning elections and then going back on what they've done. It's an endless cycle. I am not going to take it anymore. And unless this issue is addressed, me and I'm sure many others are not going to participate in the midterms.
But what's the point in not voting, though? I don't understand that, because the thing is, if there's any kind of like irregularity that goes on. And if you want to do anything about it, like let's say they investigate and they find a bunch of votes that weren't cast or that were discarded and it's your vote. If you don't vote, then there's no chance of that happening. You just pretty much letting the other side win.
You know, and here's the thing, okay? I will support candidates that Trump supports, okay? This is my position. If Trump supports that candidate, I will too. But if the person is going to try to distance himself from our president, then I'm not going to vote for that person because I want that person to be part of the MAGA agenda. I am totally with Trump 100%, and I will always stand with him. But the thing about this is that, you know, I want these voting irregularity issues addressed. I want the cheating to come out to the light. I am tired of the deep state, the judges, all of them playing games. Because the thing is we have been told that you know, with the midterms in 2018 and then 2020, oh, why did we lose? Well, they cheated. Well, what makes you think they're not going to cheat again? Okay.
Well, like, hold on. Let's pause. Hold on. Let's pause for a moment though, because the thing about it is, a lot of these elections where things happen, you know, the irregularities happen. You're talking about local elections. You're talking about there is no federal, national, just election where it's all done by one body. Every state, city, county has their own individual thing. Just like Georgia, Fulton County is one way, Forsyth is one way, Henry County is one way, and they're all in the same metro area. So I think the main thing is trying to get these individual places to tighten up. The state, the county, the city, wherever it is. Like where I live, they passed a bunch of stuff to, you know, to strengthen the voting, to give more voter security. Same thing happening right now in Texas and other places. That should be the focus because you can't ask necessarily the federal government to do something about it. What are they going to do? They can't really do anything from their level. There's laws that are on the books, of course, but the state got a lot of power in what they can do. The state can do different things. So the focus should be on having your particular state tighten up so your vote is counted properly. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes perfect sense, and I totally agree with that. I happen to live in a blue state, so I am outnumbered here. And, you know, the last thing I want is for the other side to win. So I have always done my part and cast my vote, even though it doesn't mean squat. That being said, okay, I just want, I mean, yeah, do I want the Republicans to win if they support Trump? Yes, I do. I don't want a bunch of rhinos continuing to take over because they're not going to do anything. Nothing's going to change if the wrong people end up continue being elected. Nothing's going to change. It's just like when the midterms happened in 2024 in 2014, and the Republicans took over the Senate. It seemed like in 2015 nothing was really changing. Okay, and so unless there are good MAGA candidates that are endorsed by Trump that have his stamp of approval, then I'm not going to continue supporting a bunch of rhinos just because the Democrats are worse, because it just feels like to me nothing changes. That's my frustration.
All right. Well, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Like, you got to vote at the end of the day, because if you don't vote, then they win. That's it. All they got to do is demoralize you. And that's part of the whole process that you're best off. Again, I say them all the time. That's part of the whole process. When you demoralize, when you pretty much say, you know what, I give up, then they win. It's over. So there's no need to do any cheating when you just give up. It's just like the whole thing about, have you seen that meme about the horse? The horse that is tied to a chair, like a lawn chair, really a chair that they could easily move with just walking, but they think that they can't move from the chair. So mentally, they are stuck because they think if they move, the chair won't allow them to move. You see what I'm saying? It's a mental thing. So if they demoralize you like that, it's over. So don't get demoralized. Don't cave in to what the plan is. That's part of the plan that they want you to do. So if you cave in, mission accomplished. But I digress. Let's get to the next call. Alrighty. Call you on the line. I'm speaking to 747.
Oh yeah, hi. I don't know if you ever heard of a lady called Yeonmi Park.
Yes, the North Korean defector.
Yeah. Great lady, stuff like that. If nobody knows who she is, I think people should absolutely take a look at who she is. One of the things, though, that I would like to point out, one of the things that she said, and you were talking about earlier about, BLM and stuff like that, wanting to blame white people for many different things. And, especially when it comes down to slavery. One of the things I would like to point out that she said was along the lines that if in North Korea, somebody broke the law and they go to jail, not only do they hold that person responsible, but they hold 3 generations of their family responsible. And I think it's pretty important to point out, like what she would put there, no matter who you are, you would agree that that would be very wrong to do, to 3 generations down and blame somebody for something that they had nothing to do with. And so in turn, I found it very amazing because this is something that she pointed out. And it's something that BLM and the rest of them are constantly trying to do, and put the blame basically on white people for a lot of things. And I just kind of wanted to point that out and share. And, I thought, because she's an amazing woman. I want your quick thoughts on that as well.
So is there a particular question?
No. I just wanted to say that, and I really like your show, and thank you for allowing me to speak. It's just, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. And and your thoughts on what she said, Yuma Park.
So I kind of, because there was a lot there, I kind of missed the central thing. So give me like the really quick part so I can address it.
Sure. I'm sorry. When in North Korea, when somebody goes ahead and commits a crime,
they kill the whole family.
Jail, and they hold 3 generations of people within the jail.
Right.
So my point was that where she was getting at is that you shouldn't hold generations of people accountable for something that they didn't.
Okay,
sorry?
I see. I understand what you mean. Yeah, like of course, you shouldn't be doing that. That's a really good point. And I think what's happening here is not even about generations. This is just about racism, really. It's racism going in a different direction, because people are basically trying to say, because you're a white person, that means slavery was your responsibility, which is simply not even true, because first of all, it's not even your family that may even did it. You could have come here after slavery was over with, which most whites did. Most whites were not here during slavery. Most whites came in the 1900s. Well, after slavery was over with.
Oh, yeah, no, my father's an immigrant. So,
right.
I mean, yeah.
Exactly. Because at one point, 90% of immigrants are white. So it wasn't even, and quite frankly, a lot of the poor white trash that lives in like Appalachia in the South, they were here during slavery. Most whites were not like super rich and whatnot. It was only a few people that had a lot of money and were slave owners. So the whole thing is just based on racism, not reality. You also had black slave owners, and you had blacks in Africa that were slave owners, plus Arabs in Africa and Carthage, all that kind of stuff, the Mediterranean. They all had slaves too. And you had white slaves and everything else. So really the race argument is all about racism. It's not even about a generation of a family, which is also wrong.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I kind of, that is their kind of excuse of it, and that's kind of what I'm hearing from, especially Yuma Park, which again, amazing lady. But anyway, I don't want to take up your time. Thank you very much. Again, love your show.
All right. Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good point though, but it's not even like most white people weren't even here during slavery. They came afterward. So it don't make no sense. But I understand what he was trying to say for sure. Or I understand the point that was made there. That makes sense. All right, Tariq, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, man? I just want to echo that prior caller before the one that you had about these rhinos. He is absolutely right about that, man. And I've said this a lot on your show. Rhinos, when Trump was in office, it seems like their entire focus was on Donald Trump. They make the most loudest and ridiculous statements when it comes to Donald Trump. I mean, even Meghan McCain, I don't even know if you heard Meghan McCain's recent interview when she talked about Donald Trump's family being at her funeral, at her father's funeral. And she was like, they didn't deserve to be there. Just another Republican on Republican attack, making the entire Republican Party look divided and weak. And that's what these rhinos do. And, it's up to the only thing I can say to a Trump supporter is this. If you have an option where you got a rhino versus Donald Trump, and the media's pushing the rhino, and you're not, and the Trump candidate is being attacked, you guys need to side with the Trump candidate. But, some Republicans, they frustrate me because they will still vote in these rhinos, and just because the media says something about them. And I don't know if you remember that Roy Moore situation where in Alabama, where, look, man, if that was a Democrat running and they had those allegations that it wasn't proven, the Democrats would still side with them and get them in, because the way Democrats seem to think different from the Republicans. Democrats want power, and they actively seek power. You know what I'm saying? By any means necessary, even if they have to be hypocritical on the stances, they seek power. Look at how black people were. Look at how the quote-unquote black leaders were acting when Joe Biden was running and insulting black people. They was just looking the other way. We all know if Trump said anything or even half the things that Joe Biden said while running about black people, we would be all on Trump. In fact, we would have to force Trump to answer to it. But Biden, no. And I don't know why Republicans don't have that same thing. Like I said, these rhinos in there, we put country over party. And when they say that, all they doing is just going after themselves, going after real American patriot conservatives and trying to make them look like they're sexist or trying to make them look crazy or using liberal narratives. And yeah, man, to me, man, it's really up to the Trump voter to fight that. And just another thing really quick about Dave Chappelle, man. I'm happy that Netflix is standing with Dave Chappelle. And, the problem I have with the transgender community is that my thing is this: if you guys can't take a joke, why are y'all going to comedy shows? Like, why are you even watching comedy? And then who are you to tell other people that something is offensive, that it has to be labeled or taken down? Because if you go down that route, especially with these white liberals who are fake, then let's start taking down things that has the N-word in it. Tell these white liberals, stop promoting black people who will call themselves the N-word, because that is offensive. But you see, what the white liberal do when it comes to the black community is that they will allow all the degradation, all the destruction, and they will also say, defund the police to make sure that our community is always dysfunctional so that they can keep us in a minority oppressed class and come over us as if they have the answers to all of our problems, and they rule over us and we give them our vote. And black people have got to wake up to that. These white liberals will sit there and use all their power to push the LGBT community, immigrant rights, Asian, whatever other group. But when it comes to black people, it's just sustained dysfunction. And that's all I got to say, bro.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Very well said. Very, very well said. All right. All right, call you online. Speaking to 437. Hello, caller. Can you hear me? 437. Going once, going twice. All right, to all the new callers, please be ready to be on the phone, because you cannot link it. You can't. If you're trying to watch stream at the same time, it's not going to work because it's a delay. So please have your ear to the phone, ready to answer the call. 808, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to? Hello, 808.
Hey, how's it going, man?
It's all right.
All right. Hey, I'm a liberal, bro.
Okay.
I always want to understand. I want to understand black conservatives, because I don't understand like how you guys can be conservatives when you guys be hearing these white Republicans come over here and say racist things. How come you guys don't never say anything?
Give me an example of what they say.
Okay. How about Lindsey Graham saying in his debate last year that if you are black or a person of color, you can go anywhere in South Carolina as long as you are conservative. not liberal. So basically, so where is the black liberal supposed to go? They can't go nowhere in South Carolina? Or how about you have what's her name now? What's her name? Cindy Hyde Smith, talking about being in the front row of a lynching right there in Mississippi. I mean, but you guys don't say anything.
Whoa, wait a minute. Okay, let's just get it. Let's just say what he said correctly here, because I did a little bit of research from just now, and this is on a reputable website, and it says Lindsey Graham in debate forum, black people can go anywhere in South Carolina politics if they're not liberal. You see what I'm saying? That's a different story, ain't it? That's different than saying you can just go somewhere as a black person, as a regular, normally just walking around, going to a mall, going to
politics.
I'm looking at it right here, sir. I see it right here on the screen. I looked it up just now. I'm reading it right in front of me. I'll put it on the screen. Matter of fact, it says Lindsey Graham in debate forum. It's also in the debate forum. Black people can go anywhere in South Carolina politics if they're, quote, not liberal. Okay. That's just what it is. So, I mean, matter of fact, I'll read some more. I'll read some more just to make it clear, because maybe you misunderstood, and that happens because sometimes you may hear a thing and you think you hear one thing, but that wasn't what it was. It says during a debate forum with Democratic challenger Jamie Harrison, Graham was asked about civil unrest across the nation and in South Carolina surrounding police reform and systemic racism. He implied that black people will only be successful in statewide elective office if they're conservative. And it's not a conservative website. It says it right here on where I'm at. So that's what happened. He was not talking about just regular. He was talking about politics, which makes sense in South Carolina, a more conservative state.
I mean, it's a more red state.
Correct.
Yeah, of course, man. But it's like, I watched that debate, and he didn't say anything. He didn't even mention the word political. He basically said what I said. If you are black or a person of color, you cannot go. I mean, you can go anywhere in South Carolina as long as you're liberal. I mean, as long as you're conservative, not liberal.
Okay.
That is exactly what he said.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day,
whatever you're reading from is wrong.
It's
but
wrong.
I have another
Okay.
question before I get off on here. I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Okay.
But my next thing is that how come you guys keep falling for the trick that CRT is teached in school? It is not taught in elementary, middle school, or high school. It is a college class.
Well,
you guys say, what you guys do is you guys say like, oh, you guys grab bits and pieces of CRT and then say it's CRT. But what really is going on is there is a guy who's pushing this, who basically said that he wanted to come out here and discredit them by saying anything. Oh, that's why you hear all this stuff, man, about all this stuff is all misinformation about CRT. And it's funny that conservatives can't even define CRT.
Now, as far as
it doesn't. I'm sorry.
Now,
it doesn't mention about this person is the oppressor and this person, you know what I mean, is the oppressed. No, it has to do everything with the system. And you guys keep going back to, it's saying white people is racist and black people are oppressed. It is not that. It's about the system. And you guys keep falling for it and pushing that narrative. And it is false.
Okay. Now, earlier in the show, I played a clip of people saying the same thing you said. They're saying, CRT is not being taught. He hung up. But I played a clip earlier of people saying that CRT is not being taught in school. It's not really a real thing. It's a red herring, all this, that, and the third. And then I played where there appears to be some kind of school board meeting where they literally voted on CRT being taught in school. They literally voted on it, and everybody said, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. They voted on it on a public forum. So how can you say that that's not true? I mean, come on. But I'm glad he called up and was able to ask some questions. Hopefully he's able to do a little bit of, searching, and he can find what he's trying to look for. Because if he's here, he's interested. And that's a good sign. So shout out to my man for calling. I appreciate you, sir. Let's get to some more calls here, though. And let's go to 818 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, this is Mike from California, ABL. How you doing?
Well, about yourself?
Good. I wanted to call in this evening because I had a couple things I wanted to bring up.
All right, go for it.
First, I've really been noticing lately on CNN the power of their word choice. For example, with the Alec Baldwin situation, immediately within minutes, they were using the word accident in their headlines and protecting him.
That's a really good point, because if it was a more conservative person, somebody that was known to kind of be on the right in any kind of way, then they wouldn't say that. They would just say, oh, he shot the person. They wouldn't necessarily say that he did it on purpose, but they would just say he shot and they're dead, and it wouldn't be this whole thing of trying to come to his defense.
Yeah, I agree. It's almost like one word, and not just CNN, but all of the media that tinkers with stories. They just interject that one word that sways the mind and makes that judgment right away.
That's right.
It's not neutral.
Exactly.
And then another thing I wanted to talk about is I've also been noticing that where is BLM? There is so much happening right now. There is so much that just as a regular American citizen, if there is an organization out there that defends people's rights, why would they not want to take an opportunity to help all people, but just focus in on certain crimes and certain demographics?
Well, BLM is not even about trying to help. BLM is more of kind of a political group of, what do they call when you hire mercenaries? They're pretty much mercenaries. Whenever there's an election to win, whenever there's some kind of like particular bill to get through and it requires some level of violence or instability, that's when BLM gets called up. They're not really about helping anybody. They're about helping themselves financially, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, and then the last thing I wanted to say was I work in the field of education, and I've noticed that instead of saying CRT, they're using the term alternate pedagogy.
Yeah, they're trying to do the same thing that CRT does without calling it CRT. So those that don't understand what it really is or the purpose of it, they'll kind of ignore it, but it's all the same.
Yeah. Well, thank you, ABL. Big fan of the show and big fan of you.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate it.
Bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Activists for hire, mercenaries. Yeah, activist mercenaries. That's pretty much what they are. All right, Victor, what's going on?
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
No problem.
Hey, that boy, that 18-year-old boy from Arlington with his mom giving him a celebration.
Yeah.
I got something better. Do you know the rapper YNW Melly?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know that his mom threw him a birthday party with strippers outside of this jail cell?
So wait a minute. Let's pause for a minute. So did the girls come into the penitentiary where he's at?
No, they were outside in the parking lot, outside the window where his jail cell is.
Wow. Unreal.
Yeah. It's still posted on YouTube. Of course you had to sign in to verify your age. But yeah.
And for those that don't know in the audience, YNW Melly is in jail for murder. Would he kill like his own friend?
Yeah.
Okay, just so we understand that you didn't kill your own friend allegedly, and your mom was like, "Hey, I'll bring strippers outside in the parking lot so he could see them through his penitentiary window." Just so we on the same page.
Mm-hmm. For his birthday.
Oh boy, oh boy.
So anyway, did you watch the town hall on Thursday?
I saw some of it. Yes.
I was there.
You were there in the building?
Yes.
Wow. So I got a question before you start. How did Joe Biden? Were you close to see how Joe Biden looked?
Yeah, I was close, and I didn't pay attention to
I wasn't paying attention to his body language, but when I saw that clenching of the fist, I'm like, wow, that's pretty crazy. I can't believe I've missed that. But it first off, I would say this, that it was a great experience just to be around a president or any politician. With the talk, it just sounds like he's just passing the blame to other people.
Of course.
That's what I got. They first off, when they asked the questions, they were pretty. I felt like it was pretty softball. Yeah, they had some type of little pushback. I don't think it was good enough. Every time they asked a question about, let's see, something about with the family, how are you going to help the middle class family? He says something, well, we put this bill in, but Congress voted against it. The gas price came up. He said, well, we try to do what we can, but I think Saudi Arabia or some other country where we get our gas from, they won't lower the price. I'm thinking to myself, we wouldn't even be in this situation if you didn't close the Keystone pipeline. I mean,
right, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you put yourself in this situation with that. That's the main thing I got. It was pretty disappointing how he's just passing the blame on to other people. I actually submitted 2 questions when I got the email about going to the town hall. I submitted 2 questions. Of course, my questions were going to get picked.
Right.
My first question was, what are you going to do about the instability of the Black family? Yeah, you have this Bigger, Better Act. I don't know how much that will help, if it does help, if you don't fix the foundation first, the Black family. What I don't like and what I'm seeing from the Democrat Party, it seems like they're trying to have society to fix the family, when I think it's the family that's supposed to fix the society. Because without the family, then the society is going to get messed up. The second question I asked was about the Black abortion rate. People, especially the Democrat Party, love talking about racial disparities. Like there's racial disparity in jobs, in schools, all that, and they want to find racism in those racial disparities. Yet we are silent on the high abortion rate from Black people. Last time I saw 4 times higher than white people, when we make 12 to 13% of the population. Yet though, we don't talk about that racial disparity. We don't even call racism on the abortion. Yet though, we are killing our babies at the highest rate, even to the point where in New York City, where more babies are aborted than born, and the Black population is decreasing in that city. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Also, the last thing I want to comment was the very last question that was asked. Based on that question, that event made him look like the stupidest person in the building.
Oh.
Yeah. His question was, you got the Black vote, but yet though we're disappointed on what's happening. One of the things he asked about is that our voting rights have been taken away now. And I'm like, do you know what we had to go through to get into this event? This event made you look so stupid. First off, when we had to show 4 things to get into the event: an ID, our vaccine cards, and the RSVP, as well as another vaccine passport. I don't know why we had to do the 2 vaccine things, but whatever. You mean to tell me that you could have used that same ID to go vote? and you saying that our voting rights been taken away when you can't even, when you could use that same ID that we got in to the event, you could use that same one to vote.
Exactly.
Yeah. Also, they say that, oh well, it's because they make it harder because we don't do the absentee voting. You drove all the way here, paid $20 to get into the parking lot. You can't even do that to go vote where parking is free.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And also, we also had the one rule is that we have to be masked. That rule was so loose. It was so loose because once we all got there, we were taking off our masks to take pictures. And with as far as Joe Biden and Anderson Cooper, it was cool that they were on stage without the mask so they could talk. But when we got to commercial break, Joe Biden just going hugging on people without a mask. And they're talking about, well, we want to keep people safe and prevent the spread. But yet, though, you have Joe Biden mixing up with everybody with no mask.
Crazy.
Yeah, but that's it. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it.
All right, bye.
Yeah, that whole mask thing is silly because it's like the people that want you to wear it don't really follow it, and those that support wearing it allegedly don't really follow it. It's just so strange. They do it sometimes. All right, let's go. 914, you're online. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, what up, ABL? This is Anthony calling from New York.
All righty, man. What's going on?
Not much, just chilling outside. I just wanted to know, with all the craziness going on in the world, if I know people will always be calling about what's on their brain or whatever. I want to know if it's cool if I were to spit a little something like about what's going on, about all the BS that's been going on. Is that cool with you? Just no, I'm always in cuffs.
Okay, hopefully we got some good bars. Go ahead, man.
Okay, I'm going to spit. Is that cool?
Go ahead, go for it.
Here we go. Yo, looking at the facts, trying to see what's going wrong. My idols turn to me, but your boy's holding strong. I'm a patriot. Y'all can't take the So you want to silence me with all the censorship. It ain't gonna happen. I'm gonna keep them rapping. I think for myself, and y'all only acting. I call you bitter rats. Y'all think Twitter's facts, but it's only lies from a side that wants to piggyback on each other's notions, running off emotions. I blame schools for conjuring up all the potions, for manipulation. 2 + 2 = 5. They got the kids believing all of these sadistic lies, like a double X can really be an XY, by simply taking something that'll make your chest rise. See, that don't make it right. I gotta say it twice. See, that don't make it right. I gotta say it twice. Begging God to intervene and shed some light to end the violence, but y'all in silence. I will never shut my mouth. Come and try this. This is me spitting. I don't care about your feelings, and because I'm white, I'm privileged. Let me tell you about my dealings growing up with parents fighting with their foul mouths, playing outside in vials that surround the house. Coming home, getting jumped just for being white, only made me stronger in my life. Only made me stronger in my life, yeah. We were broke, yo. It's not a joke, though. When I found that Pops was murdered by the po-po, and with all the drama, it affected Mama, who hit the bottle harder than the best defensive lineman. There was much more, but that's for another day. Y'all defending big tech, suppressing what others say. It's all politics. This shit got me sick. Mainstream media lying is what got them rich. And y'all eat it up, believing every single word. Facts don't exist in your life. It's just absurd. This is not a lecture, only built up hidden rage, handing you the keys for the doors that's locked in your brain. This is insane, with or with pain. I never thought I wouldn't tune into a Knicks game. It's a joke to me, as I hold my rosary. The NBA's got to vote for me. It's supposed to be an outlet for the stresses in our life, but I will never watch again for neglecting what is right, and go ahead, ridicule me for that. There is no justifying criminals on your back, and I don't give a flip if I get canceled or not. I'd rather die like a man than never bow to a mob. That was just some bars I wanted to spit for you, ABL, because I know you'd be listening.
All right, man. Yeah, you know, got a life story in there. Got some political stuff in there. All right, man. I'm with you. Yeah, no doubt.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I just wanted to get it off my chest, and I love what you do, and keep spitting facts, ABL.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
Cool, man.
All right, got about 75 bars in there. Shout out to the caller. Yeah, let's get some beats. Get a studio, and you know you can get her done for sure. So shout out to everybody that's watching. If you enjoy what you heard so far, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Also, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. And let's keep on rocking here. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. And let's try, hold on. Let's go 805 here on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, hi, ABL. This is Cassandra from California.
All righty. What's going on?
Hi. Well, just that upset Democrat or whatever that called earlier that's, you know, angry about racist Republicans. You know, I don't know how old he is, but like the majority of us, you know, born like around 1978, like none of us were around for all the crimes. None of us existed then.
Right.
And we were born into, you know, a world that already had everybody around us. So white people don't know what it's like to live without black people. We don't know what that's like. So to accuse us of, you know, somehow being these big racists, like we were born into a world where Michael Jackson already existed. We don't know you guys as some kind of subhuman. We only know you as everyone else because we weren't born into an entirely white world. So I don't know why he's so desperate to want to be discriminated against, but whatever he's picturing in his mind is not, you know, what is reality, because we've never lived apart.
Now, I tell you what's going on, though. A lot of guys like that, I think they're trying to seek clarity. They probably were raised to think that way, and there may be a little bit of doubt. There may be a little bit of doubt in his mind. That's why he's calling me, because if he was just so confident in what he believes and as far as all this racism stuff, he wouldn't be over here. He would have no use in talking to me. Why talk to me and have me say anything if he believes that what he thinks is correct? So he might just kind of be on the precipice of going in a different direction. So hopefully he's able to do that and not just stay to those false ideas he has in his mind.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just in case he's out there to hear, like, we don't know what it's like to live without you guys. Like, you know, we were born in a time, 1978, 1980. Like, you want to tell, like, tens of millions of white kids that they hate you, like, you can believe that, or he can believe that, but we don't know what it's like to not have you guys around.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, I'm
and
with
to
you.
somehow think that you guys have never been an influence on us, and now you want to call it cultural appropriation. You know, of course there's going to be influence from, you know, Black Americans on white Americans, and
I mean, really,
vice versa.
but
We've lived together.
The reality
for so
is,
long.
the reality is that we're all Americans. At the end of it, we're all Americans. We're in the same place. We're not as different as we think. There are some differences, but it's not that much of a difference. Like if you have a Black American go to Nigeria or somewhere, that'd be a difference. You're talking about a whole world away. Right. As Americans, we are more similar than dissimilar. And if we can embrace those similarities and even some of the differences, we better off rather than trying to embrace some of the minute differences that we have.
Right. And I mean, there is no American culture without Black Americans, because you shaped it. You didn't help it. You shaped it. Like, there is no American culture without Black Americans. It just doesn't exist. So tearing apart America, you destroy so much of what you helped shape. So that's all I can say to that guy.
Right on.
Yeah. So that's it.
Well, thank you for the call. I appreciate you.
All right. Bye.
Yeah, that's right on it. That's right on it. Really, it's all about people are more of the same than not the same. Okay, like between blacks and white, I feel like the black and white cultural difference is not that big the way people want to say, especially when we cohabitate among each other. It's just like, I'll tell you guys this story. When I was going to Atlanta and I stopped in Cartersville somewhere, you know, like way up northern Atlanta metro. And I went to the gas station and there was this white dude with a Crown Royal face mask on. You know, it's like, I know, and he was like a regular white dude. I ain't talking about like, you know, rapper type, nothing against the man that was on earlier. I'm talking about like a boomer type white dude with a Crown Royal face mask on. Like he took one of the Crown Royal bags and made it into that. His wife probably did it or something like that. Okay. Man, it could have been a high school football coach. But I know plenty of black dudes put the same thing on their face. That the cultures are more of the same than they are different. We eat a lot of the same food, fried chicken. You know, they say, well, that's a black thing. Every time I go to Popeyes back in the day when I went to Popeyes, I've seen black folks, white folks everywhere. Everybody's eating crabs. It's like you got more of the same than you don't. Ain't no black Americans eating fufu and stuff like that like they do in Nigeria. Ain't nobody black American eating no jollof rice like they do in Nigeria. But plenty of blacks and whites eat the same fried chicken, the same barbecue and steak and all that kind of good stuff. So, yeah, we need to just stop trying to be so different and weird and embrace similarities. Embrace what we have in common rather than focusing on what we don't have in common. All right. So let's get to the next one. 215 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, how's it going, ABL?
It's all right. How about yourself?
Yeah, everything's good. So I had a question. So basically, you know, it's funny. I've seen this one meme on Facebook, right? And it said, it was basically making fun of the Trump supporters on January 6th. It said, incoming butthurt Trump supporters that were basically trying to imply that they're mad that Donald Trump lost the election.
Okay.
So, you know, and it made me think. I was like, you know what? It's kind of ironic because all of 2016, how many riots were there when Hillary Clinton lost? And I'm like, you want to call us butthurt?
Right.
Exactly. And they rioted on Trump's inauguration day too.
They sure did. I mean, I know the memes. Remember the famous meme of the girl screaming with the yellow Parker or whatever she had on? Like there was a whole lot of that happening during when Trump won, and the media were on TV crying. It was a big crazy mess, but they want to call us butthurt. It's kind of funny. That's a good point you made.
Right. Exactly. And that made me think. I was like, wow, it's kind of ironic. All last year, and then I remember I heard this one story. They said the kids, when Donald Trump won back in 2016, there was a whole bunch of kids who needed therapy because they were like boo-hooing and crying. They couldn't stop crying. These were high school kids.
Yeah.
They could not stop crying because Donald Trump won the election, and they said they had to go to therapy. That's how bad it was. And I'm like, that's how brainwashed these people were.
Exactly.
And with victory, I'll tell you, when Obama won the election, even though he kind of tore the country up, and I had a guy tell me, see, I wasn't really following politics back then, but I had a guy tell me he got us out of the recession when George W. Bush did. Is that true? Do you think that's true?
You said who did what now?
Barack Obama got us out of the recession.
No,
he got in office.
No, I don't think so, because I remember that time. I remember because I was, self-employed. I was just getting started back then, and when Bush was still there, everybody was getting money. Everything was fine, actually, in what I was doing. And as Obama started to kind of sink in more, I think things got worse. For a lot of people, you had the whole housing crisis, but me as a 23, 24-year-old at the time, I was just getting started, and the whole housing thing wasn't really affecting me that much. But as Obama was there for a while, his policies just simply did not work. And quite frankly, a big part of the reason why I became conservative is because of Obama not doing a good job. So if we get out of a recession under Obama, I can't tell, because the recession for me was like 2011, and that was when Obama had been there for 3 years.
Yeah, I remember 2011. Everybody, the unemployment was really high.
Oh, it was crazy. It was ridiculous. Like it was really a problem. And I was self-employed. A lot of people I knew that had their own businesses. A guy had been working self-employed with a brick and mortar 20 years, bankrupt, 2011. My other friend, same thing, bankrupt. It was a mess. That really, it forcibly red pilled me in that time.
Yeah, and I don't want to take up most of your time, but it was another thing I wanted to say. But yeah, about I had a friend, right, and she voted just to get Trump out of office, because I tried to talk to her. She just she wasn't trying to hear it. She shut me out. Her emotions just pretty much took over. And you know what's funny, right? Now that she voted and now Trump's out of office, now guess what she told me? She said, I don't get involved in all that voting shit. Oh, excuse my language. I didn't mean to cuss. Sorry.
Right, but I understand what you mean. Like now all of a sudden she's not political. That's funny how that works.
Yeah, I was like, oh, now you're not political no more? Didn't you? You just voted in the 2020 election just to get Trump out of office. Now all of a sudden you're not political anymore?
Right.
I was like, you know what? I was like, these people are just such hypocrites. They don't. And she don't believe everything she said. I remember when this pandemic first started, she was all about everybody wearing a mask and all that stuff. And now all of a sudden, a few weeks later, I come back, she's not even wearing a mask anymore. She's not even telling nobody to put a mask on. I was like, it's all about what you want and what makes you feel comfortable. So I was just like, I don't expect much from her.
Right.
Yeah. But thanks for taking my call, ABL.
Thanks for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Same to you. Yeah, the Obama years was crazy. That's what really kind of got me on the right path to get away from liberalism. Hope and change what? Hope we go and get broke and change into a beggar on the street trying to smoke crack? Anyway, the number to call, 434-658-1220. 860, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, my brother. This is F&A Ranger.
All righty, man. What's going on?
Nothing much. Just want to clear up a little confusion about the Bush years and the housing crisis. That was actually caused by Fred Most and Barney Frank, his gay lover, which I don't care who you sleep with, but when you're conducting criminal activity in the guise of the federal government, then I got a problem.
That's right.
But Bush wanted to give people with low incomes a chance to own a home. Barney Frank and Senator Dodd took advantage of that, and they're the ones that crashed the economy by giving welfare moms $400,000 loans for houses they can't afford.
Exactly.
That's what ended up happening.
And you know what? I was talking about, I was saying that before because people were talking about, if you're poor, you don't have access to capital. Well, maybe if you're poor, you shouldn't have access to that much capital because you're not going to be able to pay it back. And there's going to be a problem when the bill comes due and you're not going to be able to. That's how the whole housing crisis happened.
Exactly. And I'm 61 years old. I'm about as old as your dad. And in 1970, like I told you previously, that my dad's best friend in 1970 was John Washington, who's dead now, God rest his soul. He was black as the night. His wife was white as snow. That was my dad's best friend in 1970.
Wow.
In North Carolina, there were more black slave owners than white slave owners. If people out there do their research, they'll find out that there was a black slave owner who trained white slave owners on how to keep them slaves in line. You're too easy on them slaves. Yeah, I read the advertisement. They had advertisements in newspapers back then too. It's not a new thing.
Right.
But what I wanted to talk about was Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
Regardless, he's 100% responsible because if Mr. Anti-Second Amendment had bothered to take a gun safety course, he would learn that the first rule of a firearm is when you are handed a firearm and you pick it up is to check the chamber to make sure it's not loaded, to identify the bullet that is in there, because blanks look nothing like full metal jackets or hollow points. They all look different. Incendiaries look different. Armor piercing looks different. They all look different. That was that man's responsibility. And I'm just going to say it's karma.
Yeah.
Bit him right on the rear end, and I couldn't think of a more deserving character than him for his tirades. But as far as the virus goes, Serpenzetta, everything I said about Fauci and Peter Denzek, a year ago, I said this stuff, that they paid for that. And I told you where Dr. Fauci's wife works for, the NIH.
That's right.
Funny how that works, huh?
It's really, too close for comfort.
Exactly. And Serpenzetta and Laue 86 did a 1-hour show on the COVID virus and the origin of it, and they were shut down, and that video was taken off the internet. And I wish I had. That's one of the few I didn't copy with my cell phone off my computer screen and upload onto my Rumble page. But
now is LowWow any other alternative platform like Rumble or BitChute?
Rumble, I don't know. I don't know. I know YouTube will censor and pull everything down. That's what they had it up on, was YouTube, and they haven't put it back up.
Yeah, I want to try to find that because I am sub to him, and I watch a lot of his. I want to try to find that video because I know that he is a really good source for all things China. So I'm trying to find that myself, actually.
His wife is a Chinese doctor, and she knew people personally involved. They said the names of the Chinese doctors that were murdered by the Chinese government to keep them silent, and the ones that they silenced. And there were videos of the doctors in the lab, the researchers playing with the bats, getting bitten by the bats hanging off their head in the cage, And in 2011, bat guano miners, bat poop miners, were 11 of them, 12 of them, came down sick with a respiratory disease. And that's where they discovered this whole line of respiratory viruses from. But Peter Denzek should be him and Fauci should be on trial for crimes against humanity and genocide.
Absolutely.
Especially at Denzek, he pushed this hard, and he probably smoothed over because Fauci is a bureaucrat. He's not a doctor. Ron Paul is a doctor. Ron Paul sees patients. Ron Paul practices medicine. Fauci does not practice medicine. He practices bureaucracy.
That's right.
And shout out to B. Tatum for pointing that out to me.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to take up a lot of your time, but man, trying to talk to some of these liberals. I play Xbox, even though I'm 61 years old, and I almost got all my weapons platinum. And the brothers get on there and start using the N-word, and I said, why y'all got to do that? Stop that. And then they start arguing with me, and I said, well, and then they get mad. And it's so much fun to get them mad. I said, see how much power I have over you, and you don't even know me. All you know is that I'm white. Damn, stop it. Stop it. You ain't got no control over me. Ain't nobody stopping me from making $80,000 a year.
Oh.
See? Ain't nobody stopping you.
There you go.
And I'll
Said it
guarantee
right there.
there's probably a couple of white people that tried to help you.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying. Because I know this much, and I'm not. My kids aren't full white; they're half and half. But white people are the first race to end slavery. There's still over 700,000 slaves in Africa. Saudi Arabia did not make slavery illegal until 1959, 1960. And if you go to the BBC website and look up Alsma, the story of it, so a cartoon, style pictogram of her story of going to Saudi Arabia to work from one of the countries in Africa, they still treat them like slaves. And China has been continuously doing slavery for 5,000 years.
Right.
So I don't want to hear how evil my race is when being white, honestly, I don't hear but maybe 4 or 5 people in 60 years be racist.
Exactly. It's not really this it's not this widespread thing like the way they want to say it, but I got more calls on the line I got to get to. Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
I know, brother. You got to go. I fully enjoy your show. Love you. You take care. God bless.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. All right. Shout out to my man for the call. Let's get to a few more here. Let's go to. All right. Let's do. Hold on. Y'all give me a second. Get to some more calls. Let's go. 228. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL. How you doing tonight? I just wanted to call and say hello. And also what I wanted to say is, you're from Virginia. I'm from Virginia. And a white child with an empty stomach is just as hungry as a black child with an empty stomach. And you know, the highlands of Virginia, there's lots and lots of poverty up there and lots of hunger. If the men wouldn't hunt and fish, sometimes their family, and you know this is true, their families wouldn't have anything to eat. And you know that's true just as sure as I'm sitting here talking to you. And the white families will share with their black neighbors, which there's not that many of them in the highlands. You know that. But I'm so sick and tired of hearing this stuff about kids being hungry and they're suffering. Well, they got white kids that are hungry and suffering, especially in Virginia. And that's all I got to say, and I hope you're doing good.
I thank you for the call. I definitely appreciate you. And you're right on point. I agree.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, she's right on point for sure. Like, you're talking about, and what she means is like way out in Western Virginia, close to West Virginia, like on the border of West Virginia. You're talking about poverty. It's real poverty. A lot of people that live in these city areas, never left the city, always in urban areas, they don't understand what poverty really is. They think having a roach in your crib is poverty. That's nothing. Try, not having running water. That's poverty. No running water, no electricity. Like, people live like that right now, today, 2021. I know certain areas, they still can. They still got to go hunt and can. If you ever seen Dolly Parton's movie, Coat of Many Colors, it's like that still now in certain parts of the country. So people just don't really understand the way things are all over the place, which is why Northern Virginia, being the way it is, trying to dictate rules from there does not make any sense for the entire state. Not at all. Northern Virginia is DC, essentially. And they take all that federal money and spread it among those counties up there. But that money does not go really past Charlottesville. And it don't really go far out west. That's why we were talking about it before in the last show, or a show before that, where Bristol, Virginia went bankrupt, but right over the border in Tennessee, they did not go bankrupt. It's the same place, basically. Bristol, Tennessee, and Bristol, Virginia. One side went bankrupt, the other one didn't. And I was in Bristol, Tennessee in January, passing through there, going to Roanoke. And it was cool. Sat there and ate, nice little area. But Bristol, Virginia is a different story. All right, we got a few more calls here, of course. And let's go 828. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Speaking to Hans from North Carolina.
All righty, what's going on?
Well, I got a couple things I want to talk about, and I'm from upstate New York. My family's lived there forever, and Cuomo leaves, and you got this stupid person, Kathy Hochul, that's literally taking the place. Like, right now, they have this thing coming out where they're going to have like 98 cents for gas tax. Like, I'm like, what are you all doing up there? Why can't they get rid of this person? Like, they're talking about like all these sexual harassments with Cuomo, and yet there's some stuff coming out of this new governor up there that isn't really much different. Like, do you think they're ever going to recall this person, or?
No, I mean, the whole thing about Cuomo is that he was out of there because of some Me Too type stuff, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was what did him in. I don't think, killing all those elderly people in the nursing home did it. The thousands that he killed, that wasn't really enough. But Me Too, I guess that was enough. So the whole reason why he was out wasn't necessarily a great reason. And I don't think it was really even it wasn't even really about a recall. Even if it was a recall, even if it was a recall, it doesn't even really matter, because if the majority of people in the state like the things that he did for some reason or another, they'll keep him, and they'll keep someone just like him, which is why the whole Gavin Newsom thing, I kind of figured would go the way that it went. Even if it didn't go that way, what had happened is they put somebody else in there. It's the same as Gavin Newsom or the same as Andrew Cuomo.
Right, and now I see Chuck Schumer is going to might run for governor up there, and there's even hints that maybe Hillary Clinton might run for governor up there. And like, if they let somebody like Hillary Clinton, you might as well just roll over and forget about it and die. Like, it's over.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much that's kind of how it is. But the problem is, unfortunately, a lot of people would vote for them because they like kind of what's going on, or they're just too ignorant to understand what's going on. And I think that's part of
California.
Yeah, it's just the exact same thing. That's why we saw in the recall what happened. The majority of people like what's going on, or they're too ignorant to even understand what's happening. So they just vote for the Democrat because they want to. They don't even understand what the Democrats do in reality.
Like, I was in upstate, and I'm like looking at the stuff that's going on. We had this one statue. I don't know if they took it down, but it wasn't any. It was sexually graphic stuff they started allowing, and I'm like, you got like children going by these things and all that, and I'm like, the state allows that. I'm like, they literally. I just saw this thing, that thing in Chicago where they had they require condoms in the schools or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? Well, apparently, I just heard from a friend of mine that some of the colleges are now starting to put them on cups. I'm not even making this up. Like cups you drink out of, they're using that instead of like tops. Do you hear anything about that?
They put them in what now?
Well, what they're doing, apparently, I'm not even sure if it's 100% accurate or not, but I've seen a couple pictures online. I looked it up, and a couple articles, and apparently they're using, instead of, on plastic, like drinkable cups, for like fountain drinks or whatever, they're actually taking the condoms and they're using that as the top, and they're putting a straw right down it. I'm like,
whoa, nah.
No, I don't know if that's true, but if that's true, that should be like straight illegal, and you need to be like banned forever.
Yeah, go to jail. I mean, the sanitary, whoever, if that's happening, that needs to be a jailable offense.
But I moved down here in North Carolina, and I see some of it, but nothing like up there. Like, I'm hoping we get rid of our governor here, like Roy Cooper. Like, I swear, if we didn't have Mark Robinson in there, we would probably be just as bad, I would think.
Yeah.
He's probably one of the only reasons why we are what we are. Like,
good point.
I'm down in like Wilmington area, and like we're still doing like masks here and all that, and I'm like, why?
Why exactly?
It's like, what is the purpose? And I see like people all over the place just like running around, walking around with them on. Like, I saw these two, like, I was like outside, one of the parsons walking, or like this one guy comes up to me and he's like, well, why aren't you wearing a mask? Aren't you afraid of COVID? And I'm like, no, man. I mean, we didn't do any of this for Ebola. We didn't do any of this for any of the other diseases.
Right, exactly.
Why do you got to wear it outside? I thought we were supposed to breathe like fresh air.
Common sense ain't too common, I suppose.
Yeah. Like, I'm thinking about going to Tennessee. That's where my family might even go.
Hey, come on over. Right on the border.
Get away from this stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, one of the topics that never gets brought up is genetically modified organisms. Is that something you would ever talk about, or?
That's kind of a deep one, and right now I got more calls online. Well, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, that's a whole TED talk right there. That's kind of deep. So let's get to a few more. 610, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, this is Shamika. How are you?
I'm well. About yourself?
Good. I just have a question for you.
All right.
How do you feel about, after Trump won, how the GOP has? Do you feel that they've been effective in doing anything to block Biden?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure what they can do because they have the majority in everything. The Democrats, they got the the House, Senate, and the White House. So it's like, what can they do on a federal level? Now, on a state level, that's a different story. There's been a lot done on the state level as far as trying to strengthen elections and having tougher laws and things of that nature, just to make sure there's not no fraud going on in Texas, I think Florida, Tennessee, Georgia, places like that. But on a federal level, I mean, what are you going to do? They have everything.
Can't they do something as far as with culture? Something.
I mean,
Something. Anything.
Well, okay. I don't know what they can do. Do you have a suggestion?
How about like how we have Rumble, BitChute, things like that, creating more, something like that. All the money that the GOP raises, I get stuff all the time, you know, going towards Trump, this, and this. Can't they pull their money together, do something? I see certain things happening with like Ben Shapiro trying to do this and do that, but we need to do something more.
Well, I think
somebody came out, we need leadership in the sense that if somebody came out, people will come out. Trump has support. GOP has support. We just need some kind of leadership, someone to help bring that together, and everybody will do their part. This is crazy.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think that as far as any kind of social media, internet stuff, I think that should be more about the private sector. And as far as Rumble, BitChute, a lot of these alternative media platforms, a lot of that's conservative run. I think Dan Bongino is behind Rumble, if I'm not mistaken. And these other things, I think Parler, that's owned by Candace Owens' husband, if I'm not mistaken. He's like the top guy over there. And you have, of course, Daily Wire, that's Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens over there. And you have a lot of these organizations. The private sector really should be in control of that. It shouldn't really be about the GOP as an organization. The GOP, that's just, they're kind of useless, in my humble opinion, as far as the things we could do on the ground. We shouldn't even really be looking to them. They should just be there for candidates to run for office, not for the things that we have to do ourselves as private individual people. And it should be that way. We should be the ones doing for ourselves and not looking at any kind of governmental type organization, you see.
I understand and I agree with you. I just see on the other side that they seem to have it a lot more organized. I
wish that like, where does that really
compete.
come from? Is it from the DNC or is it from like private companies? Like, prime example, I mean, even as far as the political people, a lot of them are put in office by private industry, like an AOC, for example. The companies that put her in were, you have Brand New Congress, and there's another one. Cenk Uygur from Young Turks, he was involved with it financially. George Soros involved with it financially. A lot of these, a lot of these private people involved with putting politicians in office. And then they do things as far as the mainstream media, that's private. Social media, that's private. They control these industries and they make things happen that way. And they also control academia. All right. So if we want to try to compete with that, we have to try to control things they control. But that can't really be from the government because it's all private at the end of the day. The DNC, RNC, that's for political candidates mostly.
I agree with you. I'm just trying to find something or some sort of hope or something.
Well, I think the main thing that we can look to is when you're looking at anything political on social media, most of the people that run it are us as far as most popular accounts. See, what's happening right now on social media is the conservatives are the most popular. We're the most active as far as people that people want to go to and see. Like, there's not a lot of Democratic influencers on the internet. There's a few, but not a whole lot. There's more of us. The problem is that a lot of these companies that have the biggest social media platforms and whatnot, they are controlled by the left. So we got to figure out a way to have our own stuff or to try and control more of it from a top level point of view. So I think that's how we kind of find some hope.
Good. I mean, how disappointing is it that at one point conservatives had the House, the Senate, everything, and they didn't do anything? It's just frustrating.
I hear you. I understand.
They just wanted to fight with Donald Trump the whole time. It's just very frustrating.
Right.
And it's hard to keep hope in the sense of to continue to support them. It's just terrible out here.
Right.
You just see your country just crazy to me.
Right on.
And then with the stupid everything's racist and everything's this, I'm Hispanic. I'm sick of it. You never even said anything like that before. They brought that out and they used that to divide, and just frustrating how people are so just brainwashed. Even our own families, is just smart people, intelligent people. And then you have a conversation and it's like, how do you not see this? It's just frustrating. You get down sometimes. That's all.
I hear you. I understand.
I was just trying to feel and see where you were. I saw that you were live and I tried to call a few times. So just trying to see, just seeking for some sort of light, put it that way.
I got you. Well, I thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
You take care. Thank you.
All right now.
Bye-bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. I got time for maybe one more. Let's go ahead and get her done. Let's go. 208, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, ABL. This is Terry from Boise, Idaho.
All righty. What's happening?
I wanted to talk really quick about the rhinos that we have. I just sent you an email about the 21 Republicans that are voting for Democrats in the primaries. So they, plus they're going to also vote for Liz Cheney, but they're saying that they, let's see here, what did I just move that to? That they are safeguarding the American democracy. So I have looked, and one of them is in my state. So I think your viewers should look and see who these Republicans are in their states. I don't know what we can do. I know I sent mine a letter because this is ridiculous. If they're going to say they're Republicans, they shouldn't be voting for Democrats.
Well, yeah, I understand that for sure.
So I just wanted to bring that up because I don't know how many people have heard about this or not, but I was shocked when I heard about it. And one comment about Biden, when you see him looking down like he did in this town hall, he's listening to whoever is talking to him in the earpiece that he has on. He's concentrated on what they're saying.
That makes sense.
And if you start watching, and if you start watching all of his, when he is, on camera, you can see how he concentrates and just the look he gets and stuff. But I noticed on the town hall one, it was so obvious. And all those questions are submitted ahead of time, too. So anyway, that's my rant for this week. So you have a good evening.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, that'll be a wrap for me. Thank y'all for joining. If you couldn't get on tonight, it's not my fault. You got to blame the white man for that, but that'll be a wrap. Shout out to all the callers. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you to all the mods as well for doing a good job, keeping all the trolls in check, keeping everybody in line at what it's supposed to be. And I got super chats on deck. I'm going to read right quick, and then I wrap it on up, put the bow clean on top. I'll be back live again on Wednesday of next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right on the channel. And I'll probably be live on Tatum's channel as well next week on Thursday, 9:30 p.m. And then again on Saturday next week, same time, same place, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, I'm live all throughout the week, putting out videos as much as I can. And of course, I got content on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and my website, anthonyblogan.com. And of course, we got merch on ablmerch.com. And one more time for the flags, if you want them, the links will be in the description box below. That's bhedesigns.com. Check them out. All righty. And so I got to screen some of the mods. Hey, I don't know. I do a mod interview, something like that. Okay. Thank you to, I think I already said Ian Randall. Ian Randall says, amen, brother. Lots of love from Australia. Shout out to you from Oz and Oz. Thank you to Ricky Lee, who says, let's go, Brandon. C. Bree said, let's go, Brandon, US. Where was I? I think my last one was, thank you to Datslov at Man Carey, who says, hashtag keep fighting, build a get home bag, and remember that hashtag 917 is coming. Iran created the virus and framed China and there are 4 lights. Thank you to Slade Healy, who says, I can't read that because I ain't trying to get flagged. A particular shooting was a hoax, not about firearm control, about media shaping reality. Look at the virus, same thing. Hashtag MAGA. Let me see. Shout out to Angel, who says, hey, ABL, I hope that Condoleezza feels it's her time to run for president. She is a force with a high level of intelligence, experience, and integrity. I love Trump, but we can't rely solely on Trump to save the GOP. I agree. I'm a Trump fan as well, but it can't just be about one man. There's a lot more positions to fill than one. So it can't just be about one man. And I think Condoleezza Rice, if she were to run, have a great chance of being able to win. That's a really good point. Very good point. But let's see what her politics are in full. As of from what I heard of her on The View and before that, she's cool, but I'm not sure she's going to go to Colin Powell type direction. RP Colin Powell, nothing against him. I'm just saying, politics wise. Thank you to editor MG, who says, thanks for all you do, ABL. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. Thank you to Chad Harris, who says, Joe Biden thinks diarrhea is hereditary because it runs in his genes. Wow. Shout out to Wolfgang Dial, who says, the South Carolina liberal did not stick around. He was only here to call snipe. That is why he was so ready to push his stupidity and then hang up. Thank you to Sonny James, who says, has anyone looked up postmodernism? They need to look up biosurveillance. The physics is there to put yourself in the robot. Revelations, they shall seek death and will not find it. Wow. This is about souls. That's deep. That's super deep. They shall seek death and will not find it. That's deep. Thank you, Trevor, for the donation. Thank you to Ron Henderson, who says, keep up the good work. We will win in the end. I will not stop fighting for our nation. Thank you to Chevy again for your donation. Thank you to Bryden Phillips, who says, good looking hat. Great show. Thank you. Shout out to Sonny James, who says, not days of Noah, days of Jonah, save souls. Well, there it is. Right on point. Okay. So are we getting, is it mod wars going on? What's happening? Like, what is going on? All right. So I'm gonna tighten that up. If anybody's in here acting up, I'm gonna tighten it up after I close out. But that'll be a wrap. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you guys. I'll be back again, of course, live next Wednesday, Thursday on Tato's channel, Saturday right back here, and Monday with pre-recorded videos. And of course, go to my Instagram, my Twitter, my Facebook, all that good stuff. And until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.